And welcome everybody as we are here for the Illinois Division B Group Grand Finals. It is going to be an amazing day. I am your caster here, Rich Red, here with the amazing Mercenary. Mercenary, how are you doing for this exciting match today?
I am doing fantastic. It's good casting with you again, Rich. We are looking at some wonderful pick bans and pro draft right now, and we're just going to dive right into that with some bans here from the Lewis Flyers. We got the Azir and the Wukong bans. Both actually some pretty well-played champions in Pro Draft, and they are currently banning Misfortune. And then over on to Uni's side, we have the Darius and the Rise ban, and we're just waiting on their third ban here. Darius, commonly banned in the top lane by a lot of low-level players and high-level players alike, as he is a rather easy character to play, and Rise just for pure, unadulterated versatility here.
And let's just be honest, you recently just saw a pentakill coming out, and it was with the assistance of a Darius, just causing some mayhem in that front line, allowing the Jhin to clean up. So Darius, whether or not he is just a main priority use character, he just causes a lot of harass and distraction in team fights, allowing somebody like that backliner to just dominate on an enemy team.
Yes, and that pentakill was an insane one here. But as we're diving into picks now, we have the Aphelios over on the side of the Lewis Flyers, a really high skill ADC here. We love seeing it as well. Along with a Nunu, great for team fights and amazing for ganks using a snowball. Got about 6 seconds here left for the last pick. And it's the Nautilus pick for the support. Nautilus being seen a lot in Pro Draft, well, not Pro Draft, in Pro League here. And is honestly just a really good support nonetheless.
Well, and one of the things I kind of want to piggyback off, you made a comment about Aphelios being picked here. We see Lewis choosing to take that, as we recently, in these most recent patch notes, had the adjustment and change to Aphelios. And I'm curious to see how that's going to work out going into this match. Again, there's been, a significant amount of change coming out to the passive, also with the Q, with the weapons of the faithful. So I'm really interested to see how those adjustments will go into this match between the two. But when you're going against a Nautilus like that with the hard crowd control, when you have an Aphelios who does not have a lot of disengage, the ability to evade incoming fights, and can be easily crowd controlled, I'm really looking to see what Lewis is going to choose in potentially this blind pick as a support.
Definitely. It's going to be a pretty big defense here for Aphelios, maybe looking for the Braum for that shield from hooks, or even a Morgana for the black shield. But over on Lewis, we have a possibly mid or top pick here of Vladimir, a very well played kind of tanky mage in the along with the Zac over there as well. Great for team fights and great for ganks, same as the Nunu. But a very mobile champion there. And then over on Laboratory, we have the Varus ADC here. Once again, a very high damage ADC, and we love seeing him play. Just have pure damage and attack speed they can pull out. And then with the rest of the bands here, and Aatrox, Ezreal, Morgana band actually by Laboratory, probably to cancel out any defense that Aphelios has. And now we're just waiting on the last ban from Lewis, which is going to be the Ornn, which is honestly to be seen. Ornn's an amazingly powerful, tanky top laner. He does a lot of damage for who he is, just being a tank in general. And namely, even if he does badly, he still has that passive of the Ornn presence, or as people over in Pro League like to call it, the ornaments.
Yes, indeed. I mean, honestly, the other thing, too, is, seeing both this Aatrox and Ornn taken out along with Wukong, there is a lot of top ban focus here coming out from Lewis to compete against Lab. And I'm really, really hoping that they're doing that to just try and secure themselves in that top lane, maybe feeling a little bit, under par in that specific lane to try and have a lesser opportunity of finding a counter coming out here. But I will make a comment about this. With this Cassiopeia being selected, that's one of those selections that is really going to be interesting. I've been able to see Laboratory come out here once before and played a very strategic Cassiopeia, and Cassiopeia in the mid lane can be extremely overwhelming. And again, with Ventrilogo having such a wide range of mid-control mage picks under their belt for Lab, I'm really interested to see how the team of Lewis is going to try and compete against that mid lane, with Cassio being such a strong mid pick.
Definitely, with about 7 seconds here, we will see how they plan on handling that Cassiopeia, most likely with some range here. And it's going to be the Ahri, actually, probably for the charm combo there. Ahri actually a reasonably good counter to Cassiopeia if she's able to land her abilities and shots. Overall, she's just good assassin in general. And the Yorick pick, that's an interesting one. We haven't seen Yorick played. Actually, I don't even know if we've seen him played at all here in this league. Yorick's a very interesting top laner, a lot of different skills and abilities. I don't know too much about him, but it should be interesting. And
I'm gonna chime in on that one. Lab played this last week when we were in the playoffs, and Smurf Top had a 6-0-0 game going into this with almost 300 CS, reaching that 30-minute marker, and it was absolutely insane to see this Yorick play in top. So I am guarantee you that is definitely somebody we're going to want to keep an eye on in this, because it was just played so strategically. There was a lot of attention drawn away from the mid and bot lane to try and handle this Yorick top, a lot of outplay against that top lane, and despite the focus that Lewis has put on this top lane with banning out the Aatrox, with banning out the Ornn, and even the Wukong with the recent change in patch notes, I still feel that this is not going to be an easy matchup with how well we've seen Lab play this Yorick before.
Definitely, but we have to remind ourselves that these are the top two teams in this league here. with Lewis taking the first place and Lab taking the second. Both of them have 9 wins under their belt, and both have proven themselves time and time again. They're not to be messed with. But I would like to draw more attention to actually Lewis's pick here with the Lulu support. Definitely a good one. One of the strong mage supports here. We've actually seen her played quite a bit in GG Leagues and just other states as well. Should definitely help Aphelios with the shields, and just generally because of her ultimate will make these fights a lot better. But then that also adds the effect of Lewis has a ton of magic damage here, with the only front lines being Vladimir and a Zac. And so they're going to be relying a lot on those two to mainly take all the damage, focusing on Ari to land her charms and do some damage, and Lulu to try to keep everyone alive at the same.
I
the
agree.
comp's interesting.
I mean, it's true, because you're going to look to see, I think, Lewis play more on the pick potential. Like you said, the charm coming out from Ari, trying to find somebody caught out maybe in the open, or even finding a really solid engage with Zac. But you have to have Lewis play this, like you said, strategically, because if you find Zac out of position with an engage, you've got the Nunu and the Nautilus to instantly shut that down and draw some serious attention to it. Or the fact that you have 2 frontliners like Nautilus and Nunu, you can really start to try and maneuver Lewis into an unfavorable position, depending upon where you are amongst these maps, especially getting into that mid to late game where objectives are now lost and you've got a lot of different channels to work with. And I think that Lab could really outmaneuver and put Lewis into a very sticky situation.
Yeah, definitely, with a lot of their front line they have as well, leaving that Varus open in the back to just lay on the damage onto that Zac and Vlad and just try to pick out as many people as possible, especially with his ultimate. Should be very interesting here to see how Lab is going to use just their mass amount of mobility on frontline to their advantage. We'll most likely see that Yorick, while it's great to see him in team fights, we'll probably see him split pushing a lot, namely because of his ultimate. We'll definitely add on to that and help out. But nonetheless, I'm excited for this match. I am extremely pumped to see how this match is going to turn out here.
Yeah, and you made the comment as well about the Lulu being a support selection to pair up with the Aphelios. I feel that the Braum would have been a better selection as we look at the bans, that it's something that, you know, wasn't taken away and could have been a lot more helpful, I think, to the team. But, you know, with these last few seconds, as we do get everything finally locked in before the game begins, I would say most likely, with the attention of the bans, who has been selected, the type of composition that's here, I think that bot lane, whoever starts to take the lead in this early game, is really going to start to call out and focus on where those major priorities are and how it's going to draw the jungler's attention away from maybe that top and mid lane to bot. And honestly, with the Lulu, this is a tall order to ask. You've got a Nautilus who is, like you said, a very high pick rate in the pro scene. LCS, LEC, constantly being brought out because of the crown control and the mechanics that player and character does have. So I'm really curious of how Lulu, coming out from Gamer, is really going to reside in this bot lane. But we will be looking at it very shortly here as we go to a brief break, and we'll see who is going to take this first best of 3 between Laboratory High School and Lewis Flyers.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of the co-founders of GG Leagues, and I hope all of you guys are staying safe and healthy.
Hi guys, I'm Abby. Most of you probably know me as Not Too Shabby in the Discord, and I am your resident league manager for GG Leagues.
And I'm Griffin Kemp. I am a marketing intern here at GG Leagues. I don't work at Cloud9, I'm sorry.
Hey everyone, this is Eric from GG Leagues. With the coronavirus sweeping the globe, I know it's been a stressful time for everybody, even though we joke as gamers that it hasn't really changed our lives at all. But, you know, with that, we wanted to take some time to update all of you on how the coronavirus has affected our leagues and our company. We also wanted to share a little bit how we're helping to maintain the esports community and camaraderie during this difficult time.
And first off, really, in the interest of everyone's health and safety in the middle of this pandemic, you know, we have unfortunately had to cancel all of our in-person events for this season. You know, this is really not an easy thing for us to do, because we really love seeing everyone come to our in-person and final and really get to meet everyone in person. We wanted to bring some of our sweet props so that way everyone can kind of take pictures of that also. And so we really, really thank all of you guys who have worked with us to host these in-person events. And we really appreciate your excitement and hard work. And we really want to thank you guys as players who are planning on coming out to our in-person event. As a result of this pandemic, though, we will be finishing our spring seasons completely online with playoffs and finals running as planned, but unfortunately, it will just be online. We're holding a vote to see what other types of rewards you guys would want as a community, so please go to your Discord and be sure to vote in that.
Yeah, and I know that, GG Leagues has spread pretty far in terms of what states we encompass, but if you didn't know, we're actually based in Chicago. So for us here, we've all been working from home to protect ourselves and to slow the speed that the virus spreads to others, because we know that it's not just about us, it's not just about you guys, it's about our families, it's about everybody in our community, it's about making sure we're protecting each other, right? And so we're all still dedicated to bringing you the same league experience that you've had the entire time, but it's just going to be online mostly.
For sure. And I mean, even amidst all the disruption caused by the whole coronavirus pandemic, our mission to build community and really connect gamers to each other really remains the same. And so, we've seen people in the esports community, some of them being you guys, you players here in GG Leagues, organize hangouts, tournaments, events, and everything to support the community during these tough times and everything. The great thing about esports is its versatility and its ability to connect people no matter how far apart we are. We at GG Leagues want to continue connecting gamers to each other, but for now, only from the comfort of each gamer's houses.
With so many schools already in a remote learning environment, we here at GG Leagues want to make sure that we can continue to support you guys. Building gaming communities has always been what our biggest passion and mission is here at the company. And so we're thinking of ways that we can continue to help your gaming communities stay connected while everyone's away from campus. That's why for the duration of the whole coronavirus pandemic, we're offering to support intramural leagues for Rocket League and League of Legends to all interested schools for free, as a way to keep the students engaged and connected with one another as everyone's away from school. The intramural leagues themselves will be competitions that allow students within the school to play in a casual, fun way against one another. The leagues will run roughly 6 weeks and will be completely online. How they'll work is GG Leagues will set up a league on our website, make it easy for your school to invite players into the league, and then from there you'll get access to the same GG Leagues experience that you see in our statewide leagues, where we'll create the leagues, we'll update the standings, we'll create the schedule, and we'll provide referees to make sure everything runs smoothly. All the schools have to do is be responsible for getting word out about this opportunity to your community. So either blasting it in your Discord, sharing it with students that are away from school, and just getting people signed up. We'll have 3 different potential start dates for this, either April 7th, April 13th, or April 20th. And so if this is something that you're interested in, definitely let us know.
So as Eric was saying, if you're interested in, hanging out with me, my referees, some fellow students from your school, even if there's some staff who are interested, send us an email at intramurals@ggleagues.com. Put the subject line as something like, my school's interested in doing an intramural league. And please, in the body of the email, include, what state your school is in, what school, and who might be the best point of contact for those intramural leagues.
And so during these hard times, we are really thankful for the whole entire community we have here at GG Leagues. Not only us here at the workplace, but you guys who have been really a part of this whole thing kind of building up. And so it's really a strong reminder for all of us that why community is the driving force behind not just esports, but everything that we do here at GG Leagues. And so if there's any way that we can help your communities out, please let us know, and stay safe and healthy as we endure this pandemic.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we are here to get the action underway between Lewis Flyers and University Laboratory High School. And between these two, we are going to have quite a match. But there was actually one change that happened as we were going through the picks and bans. There was a selection of a Varus, which actually should have been an Ezreal. So this is going to be even more interesting to talk about the bottom lane, isn't it, Mercenary?
Oh, definitely. It's going to be very interesting. It makes Adafios' job actually a whole lot harder. Namely, in Ezreal's just complete mobility across that bottom lane there, and especially against a Nautilus that Aphelios being such a standstill champion, he's just got to have a time and he's got to play it safe. But as we're getting into this match, we see the 5-man start in the bush there that we've actually seen a lot played before in other finals matches here, namely if there's any like invades or any of the such, it normally tends to happen down in that bush. Actually, just yesterday for the finals match, for yesterday's match and the last match, both teams actually collided in there. One team got a double kill within the first like minute of the game, and so that bush is a very highly contested one. But nonetheless, all of this is exciting. I'm extremely pumped for this match. Just namely, and these picks are going to be very interesting, and the stuff that you have said, namely about this, actually about the York top, you've said there's been some crazy stuff happening with there as you have casted a few of the laboratory games before.
Yes, indeed. And I'm looking to see that same kind of just resilience in play in that top lane as we do see the Zac lovely color of orange, my favorite specifically, as we look to see Nunu clearing out that blue buff just slightly behind the Zac clear, getting a little bit more assistance from that bot lane. As we do kind of focus here, like you said, the Ezreal having so much mobility, I'm really curious how this exchange and poke is going to come through for both of these teams. As we always talk about it, the top island. Who is going to prevail, the Vampire or the Meowykins?
The Meowykins. I love that. That's great. That is phenomenal.
I don't know. I wung it. It's okay. Baby kittens are great.
Yeah, man. It's fine. It's always great. It's a great skin nonetheless. As we see clears happening across the map here. Top lane seems pretty even, but we might see that Vlad try to push in onto that Yorick up in the top lane. Namely, just with all of his abilities, when he's able to poke a lot and dodge a lot of the abilities, such as the trap that Yorick will place down. So that should be very interesting to see how he handles that. Once again, the bot lane, it's all about mobility, and once this Ezreal hits like level 3 to level 6, we're going to probably see him moving a lot more and doing a lot more damage. And then mid lane, I have no idea what's going to happen in mid lane. I'll be 100% honest. If this Ahri lands a charm, it's going to be some damage, but if Cassiopeia is able to catch up with Ahri, then it's going to be a pretty scary time there too.
And honestly, if we just, it pans between a lot of these lanes, and we're just really seeing a lot of careful strategic play. There's not really been too many all-ins, but as I say it, the jungler comes from behind. The zombie Nunu brings in the boulder from that back position. The flash doesn't go over the wall, but it's going to be Kepper trying to run. Will there be any assistance by the Ahri trying to get the outplay, generating some health here, diving into the bush. The melees come through the explosive, but now as you do see the chase, the Ahri rotates up. Smurf still trying to get this first blood kill, manages to do so, and the assistance by the Ahri comes out far too late as Orianna will be brought down on that Ahri character, and that is an early double kill for University Laboratory, and starting, not trying to be ironic, but the snowball in both of this top and mid lane with that Nunu gank.
And that is exactly what you want to see from Nunu, rolling up with a snowball after doing his own clear. Just going through and trying to get an early lead for the lanes. It looks like they're going again here. But snowball's going to miss on this there, and he is going to be able to walk away. Nope, the root happens. Solid damage going on left and right. Yorick is chasing him down. Smack slowly but surely. It's not going to be enough, and he's going to probably fall again to the Yorick top. Oh my goodness.
Double kill. And honestly, the fact that Nunu stayed in that top bush with the teleport being expended early from Kepper was absolutely critical to that overall secondary gank. And now you've got 2 kills stacked up, a 150 gold bounty onto this top lane Smurf play. And this is where the snowball continues, and I can guarantee you that Smurf is feeling really great about this.
Most definitely. Just chilling is just, well, was just chilling, waiting. He knew that the teleport happened. He read it like a book, and it worked out well, namely in the fact that actually the Vladimir just went too far up here. He should have stayed back after he TP'd after such a loss, but he wasn't expecting the Nunu, and that's exactly what they were accounting for. It's a great early start here, straight up for Laboratories. They're starting a quick 3-0, and they already have that gold lead early, but we have Zach coming in the bot lane, so we might see something happen here.
Looking to make sure there's no wards in that bush. I do believe there is going to be a hesitation on this because Pepsi's playing back a little bit, does manage to dash out of the way quickly, making sure that no gank comes through. And now with a reset, decent amount of CS here, 35 to 37, you'll get Ezreal to back, most likely going to build towards that first Mana Moon that we have seen multiple times here just to start generating again. Tyra the Goddess to start. And at this point, bottom's feeling pretty good because they know that their top lane has already accelerated through this and is going to get the Executioner's calling to really sustain and counter giving that grieving wounds onto the Vladimir.
Yes, and a bit of an engage here coming out from Nunu, actually. He's going to be slowing down. He's going to hit the snowball just on the... And that's going to be another kill here, but that's going straight to Nunu. Oh my goodness. Just Chilling is on fire today. Oh my goodness.
Oxymoron again. Fire and Ice. Coming in with another gank in the mid lane. Now you're going to see dominance in top. Smurf going to continue to poke down this Vladimir. Not yet completely out of the fight. But yes, this jungler has absolutely outpaced Typh on this Zac, and I am really curious how Lewis at this point is going to be able to turn this around at a 4-kill deficit.
Yeah, but it looks like they're going to try with that great early lane dominance here. They're going to be trying to go for that early Ocean Drake, but Zac is going to be looking to contest. There's going to be a fight down there, but meanwhile in the top lane here, the Vlad's actually holding a pretty solid farm lead over top the Yorick. And it doesn't look like actually there was really much contestants down there towards the Dragon, as the first Ocean Drake is going to be going over to Laboratory, who just keep extending that early gold lead, and we might just see a snowball finish here.
Yeah, it's 1,000 gold increase and just leading Lab into a very comfortable position. You've got the double book as well in mid lane with the tier having that kill and the assistance. Lots of AP boost coming out. I mean, if we just take a look at the overall gold count comparison, you've got a good 500 in advancement here for Yorick over the Vladimir Pay, and another 500 as well in that mid lane. As the engage starts to come out top, you've got Ahri jumping in though, trying to get Smurfs, reduce that advantage that happens, and a nice charm to slow that top lane's escape, at least getting 1 kill on the board for Lewis.
Definitely. That was a great play done by Ahri. Came up right behind the Yorick there. He wasn't expecting it. She already had the ulti up, and so Yorick was just quickly shut down. After the charm was landed, it was just pure damage. And we see Yorick actually TPing back in the top lane, trying to keep that pressure going on here, and he's probably going to keep that up. But as actually that was happening in the top lane, down the bot lane, Nunu was trying to go in, but with a mishook from the Nautilus here, it was not going to be any kills down there. Ahri's probably feeling pretty comfortable now after getting some solid damage.
A lot of evasion coming out here at that top lane. Again, the Vladimir play has to be on point when you're down this much. But also, if we take a look at this mid lane, there's a lot of wave clear, specifically from the Cassiopeia, trying to rotate down to the bottom. There's 4-2, looking for the tower dive, going to have the Nunu, going with the stun, trying to get the assistance on the support, locked down. Nautilus under turret, takes some damage. There's a second. It's going to be a huge play, exchange back and forth. 2-2 trade here. And that is going to be a very difficult position to be in, even further now for Lewis, despite the pickup that Lewis had over University.
Yeah, but Ahri is coming down now, trying to see if she can clean anything up. Pings came in and nothing's happening there, but we have Zac looking to dive into the tower here, getting a little bit of knockback on to that Yorick. The flash comes out as Zac is trying to pull him back. He does successfully. Vladimir is right nearby, trying to look for anything. We have a TP coming in, forcing Zac to flashback and Vlad to just run away.
And now at this point, with Zac being so low and Vladimir being forced away, that turret has taken over 50% of turret damage because of that ultimate coming through by the Yorick. You were talking about it earlier. The ability to shove lane is so high if you can get that early lead. Now it's going to be a nice return here. Kepper's going to try and force back Smurf top. Maybe going to go back and buy since there's a decent amount accumulated, but also the fact that Yorick really doesn't have any mana to work with for any type of exchange.
Definitely. He's just going to be looking for damage, but we have a full 4-man diving up. Ezra stayed up there, get an extra kill. Vlad is on the run, and the enemy lands. But we have Ezreal diving in, maybe a little bit too far, as Vlad does some serious damage back up, and he's going to actually play it pretty safe here. Ari standing nearby, having to blow the ultimate, trying to get around and try to get that Ezreal. Nothing is going to happen, though. Overall, well played by Vlad, and Ezreal did lose quite a bit of farm down there in the bot lane, along with, I'm pretty sure, a stack or two here, going straight over to the Flyers.
Well, and the big thing that was really important is how Lewis read that fight. Even though there was a lot of aggression going on to the Vladimir and the Aura came to help out, the aggression came to the bottom turret to try and get an objective. But now you see the rotation, and what a explosive amount of damage coming out from that mid lane. Ventrilogo will follow up on the stun, and once again, Nunu participating in practically every kill on this map, excluding one. MVP play is already looking to be put onto that jungle selection.
Yeah, you hate to see it, the miss charm there. She right, missing it. It sucks. It's a real shame. She would have gone in, but we have a bit of an engage on the Lulu down here. She caught out a top of Aphelios. Aphelios getting rooted with the snowball coming in through the backside here. Lulu might be in trouble, but Zach is nearby. Lulu popping the ulti to try to stay alive, but Nuno has the ulti up. The double stun's happening. Lulu won't survive it, and neither will Zach. Next on the menu. Double kill happening here for Nunu. The passive is popped. And we're trying to see if anything can happen here. Low minions left, but it looks like that's going to be a kill going straight to Pepsi here. Well played by Nunu once again.
It's really just a significant amount of map awareness. Let's be completely honest. And now, again, every kill involvement. There's the Ahri trying to get at least a pick here. Does manage to get the orb to return, taking down Nautilus, trying to help buffer that mid lane. The Vladimir rotating down as well. The explosive damage looking to now get the kill onto Pepsi. Does get the shutdown. The gold is critical. Ahri and Vlad still going to continue to stick near that. Nunu has to bail out as the turret gets some damage, but will not take the kill.
It was a nice try of trades there. They got 2 for 3 in the end. But unfortunately, they couldn't get that Zac as well. But they do have a lot of pressure onto that Drake now, especially with Zac being back at full health and Nunu have all the way back to the base. But he does have that extra speed boost, and he's going to be looking for it. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Yorick is doing some solid damage to that tower down. The Vlad's away. The ulti's actually happening in the mid lane on Cassiopeia, and the poison's going to chew out Vladimir. And look, they're going to almost even trade there.
I think Vladimir really underestimated that exchange, not knowing and just understanding that the ultimate was still available. Nunu now going to rotate towards bottom, trying to see if there's a stun onto the Aphelios, not having any sort of escape, goes right in for the fight. Here is another clean, successful pick onto the Aphelios, but it's actually going to be a change up here. Aphelios managing to turn this around, hyper-focusing Ezreal, playing too far forward, and actually takes one down themselves with their own life taken as well.
Yeah, it was a real shame. Ezreal just once again barely missed that ulti there. A lot of barely misses here over for both teams actually now, but we have a bit of an engage happening. Ahri here, the ulti down for Cassiopeia, and she knows it. And meanwhile, on the top lane, York actually took that first tower and just kept the pressure going. That's exactly what you see happening here. And we had Nautilus and Nunu trying to come up for a gank, but nothing's going to happen in the end. Overall, Uni is just doing an amazing job here against the Flyers, but the Flyers are trying their best to hold up. And hopefully they can re-counter this, well, stop this snowball from happening coming out from Uni.
I mean, it literally, when you've got a 5-0-5 jungler that has been able to contribute this entire game, I know we've been focusing a lot on that Nunu play, but I mean, you can't really ignore the fact of how critical that role has been right now. Consistent play, keeping up with the CS score as well, still surpassing Zac, who has actually not contributed any assists or kills in any of these lanes. And at this point now, Lewis has to look for this late game and play a lot more defensively for an open opportunity where you see University Laboratory find a really bad, non-favored engagement.
Yeah, and we're just going to see some resets here, some extra clears. Ahri getting that blue buff, and Nunu looking again, once again for a gank on top of Vlad. But Vlad learned from last time, but maybe not too much. She can damage here on the top lane, having to flash out. Nunu trying to chase up. Zac being nearby is going to make it out safely there, but just, that's a ton of damage coming out from York on top of that Vladimir here.
And, I mean, Yorick so far ahead that Vladimir already found a pitfall going against the Cassiopeia, but now consistently trying to regroup at the top. Even though the Vladimir from Kepler has been managing to keep the same level with Smurf with as many times as they have died, you're still so far behind in gold, but you have Smurf top. Gonna acknowledge that you do have the Zac trying to recall. Ari might look for assistance here. Won't be able to do too much. You've got that Rift Herald in that top region looking to be obtained, and it will actually be, I believe, on the Nunu that managed to get it and going to look for a potential opportunity to use it. And I think you most likely would see it either further aggress on this top lane or try to take potentially that mid lane that's at least taken a single plate of damage.
Yeah, this Nunu's absolutely on fire today, not only getting all these kills, but taking some solid objectives as well, and keeping ahead over CS on the Zac here. It's always exciting to see a really good jungler being played here. And meanwhile, top lane, Vladimir's trying his best, but meanwhile on the bot lane here, we have Ari diving in, and they're getting a kill on top of the Ezreal, but a TP coming in might spell death. Nope, Cassiopeia is going to have to back up here with the solid pressure coming out from Aphelios. Aphelios doing some solid damage there, and Zac being nearby. There might be another kill on top of that Cassiopeia. Solid damage the landing from Zac. Not much else happening though. No ultis available. The Lulu ulti being popped to try and keep them alive. Cassiopeia is looking low. Another tower is being taken in the mid lane though, and that's going to be a death actually of the Nautilus getting targeted there. And Aphelios diving in the back lane to get that Cassiopeia. He's going to have to run away as Ezreal is back up. Oh! And the ulti barely takes him in the end. But meanwhile in the mid lane here, we have the drop of the Rift Herald here with the Yorick being pushed along with the Nunu. Solid damage coming out. That's 2 ultis, and that's a dead Vladimir. These two are on fire for tower pushing, but that was a good trade of kills down in the bot lane there from both teams.
Yes, indeed, getting a lot of value out of that. The fact that there were so many deaths lost and you gained 2 turrets in the mid lane with that Rift Herald as well, despite the kills coming out to at least help Lewis in this mid game, the fact that those objectives were lost so quickly because of all those kills that were going on in the bot lane, it is extremely still in favor of Laboratory right now, trying to continue this lead in that mid lane and offering that roam even further from the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, definitely a lot of clearing happening when now we have the Ari down here switching up from mid, trying to get some extra farm under her belt as she's actually playing pretty close, actually almost exactly even here with that Cassiopeia, trying to get a little bit ahead. Aphelios and Vladimir still holding their leads even though they have not been successfully holding their towers here. Meanwhile, the Dragon's up. We have a Mountain Drake for a Mountain Soul. Definitely going to be looking strong for actually all the members here, especially against the Cassiopeia Poison for the Flyers. So they're definitely going to be looking for that Soul coming up here. But everyone's starting to gather up for possibly another fight down in the bot lane. Coming up soon, 3 down versus the 2. And meanwhile, back up in top, we have once again Vlad and Yorick duking it out.
And I mean, the turret's super low. The teleport is available for both of the top laners. So with that dragon coming up and available, it's not going to be too strange to see them fight until that very last ditch effort once the dragon has been engaged. You can already see the Nunu setting up here from University. Again, trying to just really get some vision. You've got this rotation, though, by the Aphelios. That change, as Yorick might actually be able to get a kill out of this before Aphelios engages the fight, but that is far too much damage. I die a lot. Looking for the chase here to try and force back Yorick, but while that happens, you still have University Laboratory forcing this objective. Gamer in the back, not going to compete, nobody there to contest this as the second Drake here goes in favor of Laboratory with only 1 in favor of Lewis.
Yeah, namely that Nunu once again just choosing those objectives that Yorick's actually trying to force as much focus as he can away from the objectives so he can definitely get that damage. Vlad is trying to push up to get this tower here, but he needs to honestly back up and try to look for other objectives, trying to get more vision across the map. Because actually we have a bit of a dive here coming from Zac. Solid damage to the Cassiopeia. She's been charmed, and she's not going to survive that as Nunu tries to come in to save her, but unfortunately, after passing that Seraph's Embrace, it's not going to do enough.
No, it's really not, and now this is a chance here for mid lane to take that turret. Nobody able to really compete. There is far too much damage. You've got 4. Even though Zac is extremely low, there is still the numbers advantage in this position where you've got Yorick and Ezreal away from that mid lane. So at this point, that was a good tank, managing to follow up with the Zac jump and ambush over where Raptors were, and now just going to return back to the jungle, sustain, and try and reset.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to reset here and play it off pretty well. Taking a look across the map, though, Uni's actually going to be holding the high over here with 2 extra towers, an extra Drake, and multiple extra kills over here, 14, and they're rocking almost a 4K lead. But meanwhile, they're actually behind in the farm department, as actually Flyers are keeping up pretty well in farm, trying to max it out and use that to their advantage, but unfortunately it's not going to be getting them that much gold as these objectives keep coming up left and right.
I mean, at this point, that's all that Lewis can look to. Keeping up with that CS count is really critical to even try and keep a somewhat close playing field as we enter into this. You see a lot of secondary items completed entering into this mid-game, and you have the Baron available now, that new objective since we have surpassed the 20-minute marker. You've got a slow coming out, the Ahri trying to dive in the back on the Ezreal, managing to get the dash, but doesn't get the charm that needed to follow through, but now a quick reheal from the Ezreal, allowing this potential vision near the Baron to hopefully engage it, while Cassiopeia is just going to chill bottom and try and take that other objective.
Yeah, it's not even a try at this point. She's definitely going to do it. She has the attack speed and damage to just knock down that tower because no one is contesting her. Once again, Uni is just, they don't even need a full team to be able to fight these fights. They could just send 4 people and 1 person away to go in just split push. They're actually rocking a 1-3-1 strat here with York in the top and her in the bottom lane, as York is trying to look for that next tier 2 tower in the top lane. Especially with this Baron being up, they want that extra pressure happening at least up there. And it's going to be a very interesting match here to see how Flyers are going to be able to get this back, because they're definitely not one to be looked over. They're holding up pretty well in these fights. They're doing damage. It's just that the Uni is just kind of popping around them and just kind of showing them up, namely just how versatile and how quick they can be to get these different situations and how they can outplay it here.
And you have Ahri really activating that Twin Shadows multiple times to hopefully maybe find an early advantage, and that's what we were talking about. We said that the Zac being the only frontline tank, being the main beefy target to protect this team of Lewis and the engage potential, having that Twin Shadows, potentially finding somebody out in the open, slowing their movement, allowing Aphelios and Lulu to follow up with damage and just support as a whole, can really start to turn this if you find this consistent spread out composition from Laboratory.
Yeah, and everyone's just trying to reset here, even though we do have a Baron up, we do have a Drake coming up in almost a minute here. That won't be spelling soul point for anyone, but that Mountain Drake's really good on anyone at this point. They want some extra stats and whatnot. Meanwhile, York, once again uncontested on the top lane, is just going to immediately take that tower. That's solid damage coming out of him, with Vladimir trying to push down in the bot lane to get that tower down there.
I mean, at this point, Vladimir did a nice rotation, looking to try and take this turret, but the fact of the matter is that you've got now Nunu trying to collapse onto the Vladimir. You've got Nautilus also right behind. The engage comes through, early damage, the hook lands with the Nautilus. This is going to be extremely difficult for Kepper to get out of, but has to force the flash and dodges the ultimate from the Ezreal. And that will be a nice evade here, despite that early exchange that happened from the Nunu in the jungle.
Yeah, 2 ults wasted for that, only a flash wasted over from the side of Vladimir. He was able to keep himself alive, but doesn't have much of an extra escape tool anymore. Looks like the primary focus is going to be this dragon here, as it's come up in about 10 seconds right now. As Unique is waiting around, they do have control over some vision in the river here. And now over the pit, they're just going to be waiting around. But meanwhile, York's in the top lane, Cassiopeia is trying to show up here in mid, and Zac is actually showing up late to the party here for the Flyers. But everyone's backing out. It looks like they're waiting for somebody to step in so they can engage. Both these teams are looking for a primary engage point. It looks like we might got it with a charm here. But no.
Gonna have that blast cone start to get some separation. Probably not exactly what they wanted. Maybe a misclick there, but really now you see Yorick trying to push this inhibitor turret. The start begins. You've got the Ezreal ultimate going to be dropped, so there is vision onto this enemy. Nunu going to potentially look for an engagement, play it a little safe, just drops the baby boulder of goo up front, so it's not going to find anyone. As might be a reset. You might have Lewis actually give this away with Laboratory because of the fight engaging in top. But the charm might come through. Damage by Orianna X on this Ahri could outmaneuver Pepsi, but Pepsi does get the kill. And the snowball comes through from Just Chillin', trying to collapse as the dive comes through on Zac. with the ultimate, trying to stun at this point to keep the remaining members of this team alive. Aphelios gets the lockdown with the ultimate, having that gravity gun, but because of this kill onto Zach, forcing out the passive, you just see Lewis in a absolutely detrimental state, and now this is a clean dragon take here from Laboratory.
It was a good attempt of an engage from Ari there. She did her best and she got it really close. But honestly, Ezreal still had the mobility to dance around even after he got charmed, and just had a ton of attack speed and damage landing up on top of that Ari, who really only has like the Twin Shadows and, well, actually just only has Twin Showers and the GLP here. Not enough damage to be able to try and shut down that Ezreal. But it was a good attempt, but it spelled out death for the rest of the team, and that Drake is going to go over to Uni here to get them that match point, well, soul point, as they're actually going to start trying to take this Baron now with, looks like no one's going to be able to contest it with how fast it's being torn apart by these members.
And you really have this Yorick pressing bottom, so even if you did try to commit to this Baron counter, you're going to lose your objective tower. And again, there's such a far advantage here for Laboratory that they can really pick and choose where they want the fight to be because they are so far ahead in the lead at the moment.
Yeah, they have just been playing around the map very well, trying to keep everyone apart here. And honestly, at this point, as the map slowly closes and closes here for the Flyers, they're going to have to try to focus on one point or another. You're gonna have to keep sending the Vlad away to try to deal with the Yorick. But meanwhile, on the side here, you have to send the 4 members somebody else to focus, and 1 or 2 are going to fail, and it's the wire is well, the bar is slowly lowering here for the Flyers, possibly take this back.
I would really like to see potentially a hard 5-man engage from Lewis on a 4-man Laboratory, take the kill and try and TP to the Yorick to just really try and change things up at this point. The fact that they continue to split, making it a 4-1 every time, you are already outmatched. So you have to change a strategy. And I think that could be, even though a risky play, an option for Lewis to maybe turn this around.
And that's actually what you get here. All 5 members are looking around those bushes. They see some of the members from Uni here looking for something. Aphelios diving in, completely blind, dropping a ward, not dropping a ward here. It's going to get chewed apart by the Cassiopeia. Definitely not what you want to see. The ulti being popped on the Vlad. A little bit of miss there from the Lulu, fortunately.
And honestly, the Twin Shadows, too, going to be used defensively here is a real loss with the Ahri, because you want to try and use that offensively to find somebody to pick them out, and now here comes again, you're splitting 2-2 for this team of Lewis underneath these turrets. Yorick soloing top while there is 4 bot trying to take this inhibitor. The turret getting extremely low as Yorick, Smurf top, dominating against both of these plays without a concern in the world. The damage comes through onto the Vlad, flashing forward to try and get it, but manages to get just enough health regen from that damage dealt and survives to not give another kill to this Yorick.
And honestly, this whole collapsing thing was just kind of honestly just an error by Aphelios, completely just diving blind into that bush here and just ended up dying, and they're going to lose a whole hell of a lot for all 15 Hibs.
Yeah,
this might be the end of the game.
It could be. You've got the Zac going in. This is a Hail Mary play to try and turn it around. The Ahri flashes in the back. Charm doesn't land, but redirects back onto the Nunu in the front line as the ultimate comes out. Explosion instantly taking down Aphelios, with the Zac in the back trying to organize some sort of coordination with the Ahri to take down both the Ezreal and the Cassiopeia, but manages to survive. Has that barrier activated from Embrace and moving forward. Both the Lulu and Kepper on this Vlad super low. The stun comes out by just chilling. Both turrets now going to be heavily damaged as the respawn time is so lengthy, over 20 seconds. I do not think it's going to be enough as the Vladimir does everything possible to try and draw attention away from the Nexus in the backline. Pepsi gets the kill. The few moments remain, and that is going to be University Laboratory taking this first map in this best of 3.
And that was just absolute dominance coming out from Uni here, just showing up and doing solid damage and just showing the Flyers what for. They let the Yorick play out in the top lane, and It just had to force them away from the fight every time. It was just immense just how much damage and how much chaos can be controlled just by one extra player here. But as we're looking at the damage charts, and you guys will see them here, we're going to be looking actually at Vlad holding the most at 16,000, with the Ari coming up with a close second. Yeah, Ari's coming up in a close second with a 14,000. And then there's the Yorick top with 13,000 here. It is quite surprising that the Vlad did that much damage, though he was able to dive in the backline with his ulti. Unfortunately, not really getting many kills from that. What I'm more surprised about is the Ari's holding the second most damage here, though she did have some pretty good plays there earlier on. She more or less missed so many charms, which are so integral to her character.
And the other part, too, is this is one of those types of games where you take a look and evaluate the numbers from a mathematical standpoint and thinking they were pumping out so much more damage. They were able to try and, compete against the team and just surpass them as a whole with their hyper carries, both of these AP champs. But the fact of the matter is that the damage was distributed amongst this entire team here for Laboratory. And the fact that Nunu on this jungle had twice the amount of damage because of all of the fight engagements that came out in each one of these lanes, that completely turns the tide, no matter how much damage both the Vlad and the Ari pumped out.
Definitely, definitely. And normally right here we would talk about MVP, but actually I'm going to say we're holding it off here. Namely in the fact that we're going to start awarding a finals MVP here based off of all 3 matches. But if we were actually to give an MVP here, I think both of us would agree that it would definitely go to that Nunu of just chilling. He was across the map constantly, getting those kills, getting those, starting those fights, and definitely getting so many objectives just by how quickly he can go through. But we'll see if they can keep that up here. Actually, in this next upcoming match, I want to see a game of 3. I want to hear that Silver Scrapes played again. But we're definitely going to see here in just a couple of minutes to see if the Flyers have what it takes to bring this back. We're going to see another absolute domination coming out here from University Laboratory High School. We'll see you guys in just a couple minutes here.
Standing in the moment, waiting for the end. There's gonna be a lesson coming round the bend. Every day I wonder, looking for a thrill. Can you hear the thunder rolling down the hill? I can't breathe unless you look at me. I can't breathe unless you look at me. Are you satisfied with your life when
Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we continue this Group B Grand Finals between University Laboratory High School and Lewis Esports Flyers. And I gotta say, as we take a look at these picks and bans, we already see the mighty Nunu from Flyers taking it away from Laboratory, and this is not a surprise at all.
It really isn't. After that dominant play coming out from that Nunu last match, you really don't want to see it again. But we have the Darius and the Rise bans from earlier, Oriana band, which seems to be a new one, but the Wukong and Azir are also coming back. But without the Misfortune ban, she's going to get immediately picked up by Lab here, as the Flyers are going to pick up that Cassiopeia in a turn of events. And Aphelios as well, these guys are just going back and forth at lightning speed, oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're feeling very confident. And the one thing that I'm really going to look forward to is seeing if Just Chillin' for that jungle role, despite that the Nunu has been stripped away in the picks and bans, if the Volibear is going to show in this, because we once again in the week prior saw a massive amount of support play from that jungle role in the Volibear, and I would not be surprised to see it coming out because it is a competent pick. But we're actually going to see a Nautilus Misfortune dynamic duo in this bot lane, and because, like you said, the Nunu was the ban that was focused on this time around from Flyers versus the Misfortune, that leaves this very strong ADC bot lane open for the picking, and going to pair with a Nautilus is going to be absolutely insane.
We're going to have to see how the Aphelios is going to deal with that. If the Flyers are going to straight up pick a support here, or if they're going to try to pay out a jungler. But we actually have a mid laner picked here of the Victor against the Cassiopeia, which is kind of like it's kind of a mix up here. The Cassiopeia being mostly stable and just auto attacking at rapid speeds could definitely stand up against Victor, but Victor has a lot of tools and whatnot to try to make it a bad time for the Cassiopeia in lane, namely in the way of his trap and his gigantic laser, which I will never get tired of. But here over on the Flyers,
I'm sorry, the Yorick's gone.
Oh yeah, Yorick's getting banned again, and there's a Morgana band, as I was talking about before here against that Nautilus. So Sejuani's actually going to get picked up with the Flyers, a great team fighting jungler. We're going to have to see if that's going to be played. She thrives off of those immediate ganks, and we actually have the Vlad ban coming out from Laboratory here. That Vlad was definitely showing up top there against that Yorick.
Well, I mean, at this point now you just have Lab push coming to shove, saying, if you're going to ban my Yorick, I'm going to ban your Vlad.
How you gonna deal with that, man, huh?
I'm gonna take it away, man. You're gonna go in the blind pick Flyers, and we're gonna take it back. As Lab is just gonna wait patiently here. These last few seconds go underway. But I do like the Sejuani. The Sejuani brings a lot of crown control, some hard, heavy tankiness. But you see, Flyers gonna stick with this Aphelios Lulu.
Aphelios Lulu is a great pick in the bot lane. They did not do terribly against that comp. Oh, but here's the Volibear that you were talking about earlier. Now you're pretty pumped about that one. Definitely a great pick here for Just Chilling, as it is once again a pretty mobile champion, especially on that, a mobile tank nonetheless, and he's just going to be roaming around doing solid damage. Just before his rework, you hear a lot of people actually clamoring for that rework, just based off of how much damage this guy does.
And now the Ornn comes out for the last selection, so we are going to have that top lane competing against a Renekton, though, here. So with the Renekton trying to compete against the Ornn, I'm really interested to see how that's going to exchange out. Renekton, typically with a lot of the top lane play, has synergized very well with a heavy crowd-controlled jungler. We've typically seen it in pro play where it's the Renekton and the Elise, just because of the cocoon, the capabilities of a hard lockdown. Sejuani has the same capability because the Renekton has that auto attack reset to stack up that patch to make sure that you have the stun come through of all four. And at this point, I really like the pickup so far here from Flyers.
Flyers definitely have a lot, honestly, a better comp than last time. They have a solid Renekton, and the Sejuani here, Renekton be able to take actually a lot of damage, especially with his ulti here. But Lab also have an incredibly powerful comp, especially in that Volibear, Nautilus, and Ornn for their frontline, Misfortune for that solid damage, and a huge ulti as well. It's going to be a very interesting matchup because both these teams can strongly compete against each other. As we're actually going into the main picks right now. I'm interested in the Renekton Ornn top lane. Ornn definitely a strong component, and is almost always a ban unless somebody's planning on picking it. extremely strong up there. I want to see how the Renekton plays into that. There, honestly, once again, I'm extremely interested to see how these players will handle this. Laboratory definitely showing their worth in the last match, but I don't think we can count the Flyers just yet. They've still played well, just based off of what was going on beforehand.
And I mean, the pickup with the Renekton in the top lane, not to say that Vladimir doesn't have his own capabilities as a tanky type character. His is more reliant through the self-healing, the ability to sustain through long engagements and fights, whereas the Renekton with the ultimate, giving that burst of health, burst of damage, an area of effect damage, can synergize well with the Sejuani on the front line, especially if the Lulu places that ultimate onto one or the other. There's a lot of sustainability there, and I think this is a better decision coming out from Flyers to not try and take that more heavy AP type of champion in the top lane as they did the map prior.
Definitely, even though Vlad is a good pick up there in the top lane, against that Yorick, it was just not enough, especially with that intense power coming out there. Want to see how Smurf top handles this Orin, though, as he's definitely showed he has a lot of split potential. But this Orin's a very strong team fight character, and so I want to see if we'll be seeing that Orin a lot more down in fights happening and a lot less split pushing coming out here from Uni. It's definitely an interesting matchup.
And to piggyback off of the Ornn comment, you've got Nautilus with crowd control, stun, and slow. Victor has the slow, has the stun. Volibear flips the target, makes sure that they're slowed. Ornn has a field of characters to land that follow-up stun and crowd control lockdown. The ability that Laboratory has to isolate individuals from Flyers in team fights is going to be chaotic, and Flyers are truly going to have to be careful how they enter into practically every fight, even in the early game, because of that capability.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very interesting matchup. We have about 15 seconds here before the match starts. In this second match of the best of three here for the finals for University of Laboratory High School. Let's see if they can bring it close to this early, or if the Lewis Flyers are going to show up and wreck shop. We'll see you guys down there on the Rift in just a couple minutes here.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of the co-founders of GGLeagues, and I hope all of you guys are staying safe and healthy.
Hi guys, I'm Abby. Most of you probably know me as Not Too Shabby in the Discord, and I am your resident league manager for GGLeagues.
And I'm Griffin Kemp. I am a marketing intern here at GGLeagues. I don't work at Cloud9, I'm sorry.
Hey everyone, this is Eric from GGLeagues. With the coronavirus sweeping the globe, I know it's been a stressful time for everybody. Even though we joke as gamers that it hasn't really changed our lives at all. But, you know, with that, we wanted to take some time to update all of you on how the coronavirus has affected our leagues and our company. We also wanted to share a little bit how we're helping to maintain the esports community and camaraderie during this difficult time.
And first off, really, in the interest of everyone's health and safety in the middle of this pandemic, you know, we have unfortunately had to cancel all of our in-person events for this season. You know, this is really not an easy thing for us to do, because we really love seeing everyone come to our in-person and final and really get to meet everyone in person. We wanted to bring some of our sweet props so that way everyone can kind of take pictures with that also. And so we really thank all of you guys who have worked with us to host these in-person events. And we really appreciate your excitement and hard work. And we really want to thank you guys as players who are planning on coming out to our in-person event. As a result of this pandemic, though, we will be finishing our spring seasons completely online with playoffs and finals running as planned, but unfortunately, it will just be online. We're holding a vote to see what other types of rewards you guys would want as a community. So please go to your Discord and be sure to vote in that.
Yeah, and I know that, you know, GGLeagues has spread pretty far in terms of what states we encompass, but if you didn't know, we're actually based in Chicago. So for us here, we've all been working from home to protect ourselves and to slow the speed that the virus spreads to others, because we know that it's not just about us, it's not just about you guys, it's about our families, it's about everybody in our community, it's about making sure we're protecting each other, right? And so we're all still dedicated to bringing you the same league experience that you've had the entire time, but it's just going to be online mostly.
For sure. And I mean, you know, even amidst all the disruption caused by the whole coronavirus pandemic, our mission to build community and really connect gamers to each other really remains the same. And so, we've seen people in the esports community, some of them being you guys, you players here in GG Leagues, organize hangouts, tournaments, events, and everything to support the community during these tough times and everything. The great thing about esports is its versatility and its ability to connect people no matter how far apart we are. We at GG Leagues want to continue connecting gamers to each other, but for now, only from the comfort of each gamer's houses.
With so many schools already in a remote learning environment, we here at GG Leagues want to make sure that we can continue to support you guys. Building gaming communities has always been what our biggest passion and mission is here at the company. And so we're thinking of ways that we can continue to help your gaming communities stay connected while everyone's away from campus. That's why for the duration of the whole coronavirus pandemic, we're offering to support intramural leagues for Rocket League and League of Legends to all interested schools for free as a way to keep the students engaged and connected with one another as everyone's away from school. The intramural leagues themselves will be competitions that allow students within the school to play in a casual, fun way against one another. The leagues will run roughly 6 weeks and will be completely online. How they'll work is GG Leagues will set up a league on our website, make it easy for your school to invite players into the league, and then from there you'll get access to the same GG Leagues experience that you see in our statewide leagues, where we'll create the leagues, we'll update the standings, we'll create the schedule, and we'll provide referees to make sure everything runs smoothly. All the schools have to do is be responsible for getting word out about this opportunity to your community. So either blasting it in your Discord, sharing it with students that are away from school, and just getting people signed up. We'll have 3 different potential start dates for this, either April 7th, April 13th, or April 20th. And so if this is something that you're interested in, definitely let us know.
So as Eric was saying, if you're interested in, hanging out with me, my referees, some fellow students from your school, even if there's some staff who are interested, send us an email at intramurals@ggleagues.com. Put the subject line as something like, my school's interested in doing an intramural league. And please, in the body of the email, include, what state your school is in, what school, and who might be the best point of contact for those intramural leagues.
And so during these hard times, we are really thankful for a whole entire community we have here at GG Leagues. Not only us here at the workplace, but you guys who have been really a part of this whole thing kind of building up. And so it's really a strong reminder for all of us that why community is the driving force behind not just esports, but everything that we do here at GG Leagues. And so if there's any way that we can help your communities out, please let us know, and stay safe and healthy as we endure this pandemic.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we are here now to see the second map between Lewis Flyers and University Laboratory. Switching sides, as we do have Lewis on the side of top for red, and we've got blue being University Laboratory. And with this next map, we'll see if they're going to look to stack all 5 once again here, or they're just going to use the typical 5-man lineup, which it looks like it's going to be, and nothing eventful happening here.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to keep it safe and whatnot. A bit of pings happening there in the middle. Just random question mark pings with helmet. And look, we have the duck. There he is. Everyone get some ducks in the chat. Come on. I want to see those ducks in the chat because,
Ducky!
yeah, it's the rare duck. There's like a 5% chance of seeing it per matches, which it sounds rare. It's not really super rare, but I love seeing the duck in the matches.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have to be honest. Every time I see the duck or somebody makes a comment about it, I just think of the old school, Rubber Ducky, you're so fun. Rubber Ducky, you're so fun.
You are bringing back some memories from jeez.
That just shows my age. For those that don't get that reference, I am so much older.
Okay, you're not so much older.
This is
than
true.
me. You're only 10 years older than me.
I mean, a decade. And all.
It's just a decade. Don't worry.
A decade, double digits. I mean,
but as we're getting into this match here, we have regular starts coming out left and right. Remember, starting red and blue on both sides, and everything's just kind of going as normal. Though we do have a bit of a strong power actually happening in the top lane. Renekton taking control of that farm, which honestly you're gonna kind of see, namely in the fact that Renekton has a lot of quick combos to do some serious damage up there. So Kepper's gonna be showing what's what against Smurf top, and we'll hopefully see a game 3. I want to see a game 3. I want that silver scrapes.
well, and the part that's going to be really nice for Kepper here is that there is some serious wave clear. I think that just surpasses the Ornn play. There is some capability for some wave clear, but honestly, it's just not nearly in comparison to the Renekton. And this is honestly, I think, one of the biggest benefits to selecting this Renekton into the Ornn, despite the fact that Ornn is a lot more of just a naturally tanky character against a damage dealer such as Renekton.
Definitely, definitely. He has a lot of skills and abilities, so even if he lane or just like starts falling behind, he still has the passive, he still can just be an absolute block of meat. But something that I found interesting that I was talking about during the break actually was that spell book that Ornn is taking. And so we might see that be used here. Actually, we have a bit of an engage here happening. Volibear, Poison's gonna slow him down, and that's a big old no.
Just chilling though, demonstrating that his presence shall still be known. Despite, and you can definitely see that that mid lane with the Cassiopeia was like, we ain't gonna let you get this first kill once again for the team.
Yeah, Smurf top having a dash away here from Kepper Johnson, but solid damage happening too. Smurf top looking a little bit low here, but he's gonna get under tower just in time. And
that was a nice combination too. The fact that the stun came immediately after Smurf now at a very low health value and the wave shoved up. Renekton's playing this very strategically. Even though Sejuani is there for help, it's really not needed.
Oh yeah, everyone's playing safe here. There was a bit of a fight actually for that Scuttle Crab in the top side of the jungle here. But we have Volibear popping up down the bot lane. Going to go steal some quick Krugs as Sejuani is actually doing... Actually no, he's just going to go take his own Krugs. I keep getting confused by map changes, you know, it's going to happen. I'm a professional.
It happens. We're all professionals here to some degree. We make our comments and we stick with them. As we take a look back in that mid lane, you're going to have Ventrilo exchanging about evenly with this Cassiopeia. And you made a comment about how there is a good opportunity for the Victor to really try and counter the Cassiopeia, reducing the movement and, you know, having that crowd control capability. But I feel between the two of these mid laners, they're really going to play it more safe and almost wait for the jungler to initiate an opportunity for a first initial pick.
Yeah, they might be. They could be also just waiting up for 6 here. We'll see, actually, in just a little bit here. Both are level 5. A bit of an engage coming out from Just Chillin', trying to make his presence known. But once again, Cassiopeia says, screw off, go to somebody else's lane, not mine. He's really trying to get that presence up there. He's really trying to force back Cassiopeia. But it's not really coming to fruition, but he is applying the pressure.
Stun comes out once again. The poke is there, and just a huge wave clear. I mean, despite how quickly you've had Renekton clear these waves, Ornn from Laboratory has still really held their own, despite having to pop all 3 pots from that initial engage that was not favorable for Smurf.
Yeah, everyone's just kind of playing safe, playing smooth. Going for a back here from Volibear. He's gonna straight over, actually pick up that bomb. He's Cinder playing off from tank here, but meanwhile, 10MF in the bot lane here is doing some solid damage on a Lulu, and she's gonna have to play it safe, honestly. But top lane, once again, Smurf top's being forced back by the Renekton, though keeping up and farm pretty well. Renekton is definitely applying the pressure, but we have no engages. Volibear looking for mid constantly, but isn't going anywhere else, and well, everyone's just trying to play it safe, but we might have a bit of engage actually happening in the top lane here.
Yeah, towards the river, near where that Scuttle Crab is, you have the Sejuani looking to take it first by Lewis. You don't see Just Chillin' risking that engage, not going to find a favorable opportunity to push. Ornn is under the tower, trying to prevent those CS from continuing to crash into the turret, and honestly, it was well played. Ultimate's going to be available, though, in this top lane, so now I'm really curious to see how this crowd control between the two top laners is going to function.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be an interesting matchup up there. And again, it's just this is a very this is quite a change from what we saw earlier today. Well, earlier in the first match here, there's just crazy plays happening back and forth, but the gold is staying pretty even. Farm is staying reasonably even, unless you look in the mid lane there with Victor taking a whole chunk of farm out from under Cassiopeia, especially actually with the Volibear help with the pressure. But otherwise, everyone else is just kind of staying safe and playing safe. It's a smart idea, I guess, in the end.
I
Not
mean,
as
it's
interesting for us.
yeah, I mean, it's moments like those, though, that you start to really see the tides start to shift. That's a 300 gold lead here by the Victor, despite it only being that 20 CS, or about 11 now at this point. But still, it's a lot to really start to move into those itemizations. You've got Book coming out, but in also that mid lane, you have the Tear of Goddess from the Cassiopeia, allowing it to start to build into that embrace to have to try and counter against Ventrilogo with that aggression.
Yeah, everyone's just kind of playing safe and a little bit of fights happening down there in the bot lane, but we do have a Cloud Drake up. We might see some pressure happening here from the Sejuani. There's vision down there. But meanwhile, Volibear is actually winning off in the far bush for the rest of the laners to actually get close. But it doesn't look like it's going to be happening. Everyone wants to play it safe and play it smooth. But actually, it looks like Victor's going to try to get some vision down there as well, as we have a bit of an engaged top lane here.
Getting a stun, mana low for the Ornn play, not going to really have too much of an opportunity to follow up on an exchange as we rotate back to mid. Orianna X getting a lot of damage there. Victor ultimate comes through, trying to get the kill onto this Cassiopeia. Does not do enough here as the pots, all three of them will be used from the corruption potion to survive through that engage. And rotating now, you do have three members here from Laboratory taking this dragon, getting the objective once again, and just chilling, constantly focusing this objective play.
Yeah, and then Uni's going to be taking that first Cloud Drake here with the next soul from him. But namely, everyone's just... it was a good play from Uni taking that advantage happening there in the mid lane to go and get that Drake. It looks like the Flyers are getting a little bit too comfortable here with how smoothly everything's going. We got the ulti popping up for the click wave clear there. And a bit of damage on top of Lulu. Ooh, Cassiopeia looking low. The flash coming out! And the quick trade's gonna be first blood at almost 9 minutes here, going straight to Victor.
That was such a high-risk, high-reward play, and it totally was worth it. The flash being expended, getting some serious value, now going to start continuing that gold lead, while the counter might come through. Smurf having to bail out of this. Kepler getting a lot of damage onto that Ornn play, while Victor, Ventrilogo, still forces this turret, and you see Sejuani unable to compete at this point. Victor, once again, by Ventrilogo, even though there's a lot of advantage for Smurf the prior game, you see a lot now going in favor of Ventrilogo this second one.
Yeah, Ventrilogo definitely playing well down there in the mid lane, and fortunately Sejuani's not able to hold up just at the pure range coming out from that Victor. It's everyone's going to play it safe. A lot of backs coming out here. Look at the items. We have 2 BF swords coming out in the bot lane there. A lot of blades actually coming out for that Ophelios, as he does have a bit of extra farm. No real chaos happening there, but again, everyone's just playing it safe, playing it smooth, and Victor honestly just showing the Flyers why just don't act safe, don't get comfortable with this. We're still gonna go crazy and try to have a fight here.
Well, and the other part too I want to mention is that, I mean, when you have that Living Forge from Smurf top, that actually saves you so much time on the back and keeping up with this Renekton. Even though they're down 10 CS just above that, it still allows you to not be so much further behind.
Yeah, definitely. Well, actually, we have a little bit of a possible hunt down here happening in the top lane with Volibear spotting out that Renekton, but Renekton's going to be able to get out smoothly there. A little bit of a fight happening there in the bot lane, but once again, no one's fully engaging. Both lanes have some solid damage here, but no one wants to fully commit. But oh my god, that was about 286 damage happening on the Lulu. The hook's coming in though. Solid damage coming left of the Ophelios, and the Lulu all popping out as well. Ophelios is getting caught out. The flash is gonna go through, and it's not gonna be enough. The Q connects, and it's gonna spell a death sentence for that Ophelios. So well played job by that MF.
Yeah, the fact that the ult was expended onto Lulu immediately forced the change-up in attention as this jungler v jungler now towards that Rift Herald starts to come out. The stun and slow active as now Ventriligo tries to maneuver away from the Cassiopeia. Tons of damage. The ultimate in return. Orianna X gets the kill. There's the 300 gold in addition to that takedown. As a lot is beginning to happen, and this is what we wanted to see now, but just chillin', looking for the follow-up, has to force the flash, the stun comes through, the toss over the back, as a TP is going to be active as well. Smurf going to separate themselves with just chillin', hoping that that passive is going to generate enough help to hopefully get back into this, but Orianna X managing to maneuver all through the damage and finds the kill. A trade-off, is it going to be a survival? It will happen. The jungler comes in the clutch moments as that last mage blasted dart or whatever from that wand is not going to kill the Cassiopeia just by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, Orianna X just absolutely going insane here today, just popping up from both the river there up and in top lane as well, proving her worth as a solid damage. There was a good fight happening there in the top jungle, especially from Victor trying to catch that Sejuani off guard, but honestly, Orianna X showing that why she can't be trifled with either. But meanwhile, in the bot lane, as all of that was happening here, MF and Nautilus managed to pick up the extra kill on top of the Lulu, and they might get another one here with Volibear looking for a possible engage. Looks like he might be going in right now.
Could get the flank. Patient play here in the bush. I don't believe there has been a ward to find it. The hook going to miss, coming out from the Nautilus. The ultimate committed, but the stun and the toss actually overlap, so there is not going to be as good of an engagement, but it doesn't matter. Pepsi has a significant amount of damage here to actually surpass that engagement and will now make it a 5-3 kill score between Lab and Lewis.
It was a good play and attempt there by that bot lane, but just the sheer amount of damage coming out from that Volibear and the MF like is going to spell a death sentence for Aphelios there. But a lot of stuff were missed there and kind of just some lapse of judgment. The hook did miss, the toss it missed, the ultimate did land on top of Aphelios, definitely leading up to some solid damage. But nonetheless, it was an attempt that was made. And honestly, if it was just to play a little bit more and if Aphelios could get the safety, honestly, it was kind of a failure worth of engages there. But meanwhile, on the top lane here, solid damage on Kepler Johnson. Smurf top is pushing forward as it looks like Lab is going to be getting that second Drake, and the Ocean Drake is going to be popping up here.
Allowing that extra movement and swiftness and coverage with that now as the Cassiopeia looks for a flank, managing to get that ultimate onto Smurf top all alone. Has to look to try and at least take down one, but is not going to be enough. Kepler Johnson survives with some great rotations by this mid lane. And at this point now, with a lot of that extra brush, these engages are going to be a lot more difficult for the side of Lewis. You've got a explosive amount of damage from Just and the assistance of Misfortune, who is now 3-0-1 in this bot lane.
Yeah, a little bit too far push-up happening there from that Aphelios and the Lulu, but it looks like Victor's going to be looking for that Lulu actually right now.
Trying to draw
the hook landing is oh
my goodness. Below.
That sheer amount of pressure happening there spelled the death sentence for the bot lane and that bot lane tower, but the Rift Herald's actually being dropped in the mid lane, and that might be the mid tower as well.
That's a nice reply to this. You've already lost so much in the bot lane. You have to take the fight to this mid lane, especially because you have the Rift Herald. The Volibear is going to attempt to get there quick enough to try, and actually will get there with just a little bit of time remaining. Fears off those last few mage minions into the melees, as that Just Chillin' keeps a slight bit of health remaining on that mid turret.
Yeah, everyone's playing it off nice and whatnot. Everyone's just gonna keep it safe. But meanwhile, Lab is showing up, but again, the Flyers are playing pretty well too, with some solid engages and whatnot. We have possibly another engage with 3 members down there towards the mid lane. Actually, all 5 members are lining up and ready. Though the Baron play, and there's no more Rift Heralds anymore, but the Baron play is actually coming up for another 4 minutes here. So I guess we'll see what's happening, as they're just going to be trying to hunt for kills at this point.
Just Chillin' playing very aggressive in their opposing jungle, really getting a lot of deep wards there to try and have some vision. You've already got Kepper playing very close to that tri-bush, making sure that there is that vision ward to stop any others. The summoning is going to be seen, so it's 3-2 top. We've got the rotation from bot lane, as Belong needs to be very careful of this potential Sejuani ult. It comes through. There's the engage, dropping it in the back. The ult gets a knock-up as well as the ultimate from Orianna X could potentially look to find a kill onto Below, but Pepsi goes in for the dive with the assistance from Nautilus. Cannot survive, though, between Orianna X and Kepper Johnson, taking down the Misfortune for the first time, as well as Nautilus. And now this top turret could potentially go down, but a great response by Just Chillin', trying to get some damage onto the turret as that now exchange comes through, but the Orianna sticks around, not expecting that. Just Chillin' gets counterplayed here with Orianna X going to take down this top turret.
A lot of great things happening there in that match. That MF and that Nautilus try to play their best up there in the top lane, doing some solid damage, and especially that long hook coming out from Nautilus, getting that early on kill. But Orianna X's sheer amount of power as they just continuously go in. But we have an engage here trying to save that tower from Smurf top. But it's just him with the Victor actually showing up in the side lane here. It looks like Aphelios is going to be in trouble. Flashing out to try to stay alive as he's getting out with barely any health. Lulu also having the flash. Orianna X is caught alone. It looks like the shutdown's going to come through. And it's going to be Orin picking that sod up. Oh my goodness. Solid damage coming out from the Victor there as well. Just flashing and beaming down that Aphelios as well. Solid plays coming out from Uni here.
The hard part about that for Orianna X was Orianna X on this Cassiopeia found themselves out in the open, unfortunately, where there were too many positions to reroute. You had the Cassiopeia look for a flank and tried to find an opportunity to support the rest of the team while Ventriligo was on the front line attacking the Aphelios. But because of the rotation from Just Chillin', along with the support here from Smurf top, Cassiopeia had nowhere to go.
Yeah, she was just caught out in the open. Unfortunately, just some poor positioning there from her. She was trying to get some extra damage as well. But that's a solid shutdown going towards that Orin, who has actually that Frostborn Goblin. Is going to be looking to possibly build that Thornmail up next to try to counter that Cassiopeia and that Aphelios just from the solid attack damage coming out from there. We have Drake coming up here in about 15 seconds. That's the first Ocean Drake, and looks like the Flyers are going to be looking for a trade here, but there's no vision in that bush. You got two members waiting. There might be an engage. Orianna's getting a little close, but everyone's going to back up after a ward is placed.
That could have
Really
been
tense for the straight here.
extremely risky. Yes, indeed. There is a deep ward, though, into this pit as well to make sure that if anybody from the opposite side manages to come over the wall, Just Chilling and the Nautilus play from below have to be able to get a land onto Team Lewis here.
Yeah, looks like some pokes coming out there from Aphelios, trying to shut up that dragon and keep it active during the match just to do some possible damage over on Uni here. Looks like the engage is being made here. All teams are coming in. The teleport's coming up as well. The Orin ulti is coming through.
Comes out, gets a stun.
Members.
Onto Sejuani. Now a massive amount of damage from Orianna X. The Lulu ultimate to continue flourishing on the front, but a massive amount of exchanged damage here as Just Chillin' tries to keep this team alive with the crown control. It's not going to be enough, and you see Lewis in a hard-fought team fight managing to come out on top.
Yeah, and even without Cassiopeia, who died during that fight, they were able to get the full ace there as well. Just an absolute strong team fight potential coming out here for the Flyers, and hopefully we're going to see that a lot more after they have just kind of shown that their team fight potential is gigantic. Just the strong damage coming in left and right, and we actually have that bounty going right on top of that Renekton as well.
Well, the part of it is the Lulu ultimate was committed to the Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia at that point was putting out so much damage that the focus was strictly on Cassiopeia, allowing every other member of Lewis Flyers to really do what they wanted and focus that backline target. And there was nothing that Just Chillin' could do outside of the initial crowd control from the toss and Smurf top with the ultimate. It was just a difficult turnaround for University Laboratory to try and change.
Yeah, that ultimate earlier on, while knocking up a few members, didn't really add any focus for any of the members of Uni to really target. They got that Cassiopeia just based off of a huge amount of damage alone, but the rest of the team was not focused, wasn't targeted. If anyone who was targeted was the Sejuani there in the end. A tank, not something you don't really want to see, but everyone else just kind of was able to sweep up the rest of the mess, and that solid damage still coming out from Cassiopeia there was able to be enough in the end, as actually members are starting to look now for that Baron as it's the next objective up, with that Drake coming up here quite in about 3 minutes.
I mean, to be fair, you had over a 2k deficit ult, actually flash ult to be precise, by Orianna X. The Renekton diving in with the ultimate. A significant amount of damage onto below, trying to hook away, cannot keep distance from this chasing Renekton. All the while in top lane, you've got Just Chillin' along with Smurf taking down Aphelios. So this is a 1-in-1 exchange, as Kepper now has to look to be careful. Possible flank opportunity. You've got Typhon going in the back, throwing the ultimate onto Pepsi. Cassiopeia still trying to get a lot of damage onto Ventrilico as the flash comes out by Kepper, chasing in the back, gets the explosive damage onto that central mage position from University Laboratory, and now you start to see Lewis in their element, claiming these kills.
That was an absolutely clean ultimate coming out there from that Sejuani on a completely blind bush, mind you. Just getting that solid hook and ending up doing some solid damage at the end. Lewis really showing up what they can do as they work as a team here to just clean it up. But meanwhile, in the top lane here, Smurf top looking for that final outer turret, as Cassiopeia will trade for the bottom one is there. Currently, towers are tied, and Renekton's going to be able to defend the top lane, but Lewis is just doing a great job team fighting. Kepler actually being able to do the huge amount of damage he's allowed to, as he's looking at 5-1 right now with a 500 bounty standing over his head.
Yeah, I really like how elusive Renekton has been from Kepper, because it's really held their own through not only the mid game, but really solidifying their presence in this mid to late game.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to play it safe and play it well, and hopefully we see a lot more team fights coming up Flyers here, as again, once again, they proved that they work massively well as a team, and actually putting Uni on its toes here, as the gold deficit is actually starting to line up once again from all the way from about like a couple minutes ago. It was well, just from earlier in the game. It's absolutely phenomenal how well they're doing and coming back here, and hopefully with how well they're doing, they could keep this up, and we could see this happen in a possible game 3.
And honestly, the objectives now, specifically with the Baron and trying to force one of these lanes, is going to be critical. The fact that you've had this top lane not yet lose a turret has really been a lot of trouble for Smurf top. Can't get there to try and force it back to hopefully start to get a longer extended crashing wave with this CS count. And honestly, with how strict Kepper has been sticking towards this top position and managing it, you even see now Just Chillin' looking for a potential gank in the bush, going to go for that potential dive. The stun doesn't come through. Here comes the ultimate, going to slow. No flash available. Used it in the last fight. They know this. As a TP comes out, Kepper managing to get that extra movement speed, as Orianna with the TP movement speed tries to go in, but sees there's 3 and saying, peace out, friends.
Yeah, it looks like their Just Smurfing was trying to just show up what he had. Match solid damage onto Kepler Johnson, but that Sun and ulti pop and rocking a 5-1 here, he just devastated Just Chillin'. He showed why you can't 2v1 him anymore. You have to have a lot more members and a lot better engaged to be able to try and fight that. But we have the next Drake popping up here in a couple seconds, as it looks like the entirety of the Flyers are coming down to deal with that. Both TPs are up in the top lane for Ornn and for the Renektons. We might see a possible engage here on the fight. And the Flyers are going to start this off. They have the vision, and we're going to see how Uni's going to handle this. Or even if they are.
Yeah, they can't even get there quick enough. That is so much damage onto that Drake, allowing the second one now, where that is going to be some serious health percentage per 5 generated from 2 of these Ocean Drakes, and really giving a lot more sustain in these fights, as we've already seen them managing to hold their own anyways.
Yeah, Flyers are just coming out here with so much damage. Honestly, Orianna X really showing their style with that Cassiopeia popping up here. Just of how much damage that could pour out and how good they are at playing that. And honestly, the Ornn pick almost seems a little bit dread here, but here we have the Sejuani diving in on top of the Victor. It's gonna get the kill here. And honestly, that was just a misplay by Victor. He stepped up and he got punished hard for it.
The worst part of it is the flash was still in the line of the ultimate. He flashed immediately into the peak of the ultimate, still getting locked down. Should have flashed a little bit more in the southern mid region, just over the wall to evade that. But again, in those quick moments like that, errors can cost you a lot, and it not only costs the kill, but also a Baron.
Oh yeah, as I was just talking about multiple times here, the Flyers are working together finally in a strong team fight, still being torn apart. That's why I think the Ornn pick was actually a pretty bad pick for Smurf Top, as he's always looking to split push up there. He can't tear the team apart, and so when the Flyers are working together with a strong team fight potential, they didn't even try to contest it. They had still 4 members up they could have at least tried to fight for, but they didn't even want to face the Flyers at their full group potential there. And now they have the Baron, they have that full potential to push as they're looking to keep turning this around, and for once, actually, the gold advantage is going in the way of the Flyers for this match.
I really think that for Laboratory to not allow this snowball to continue, I think you almost need to hold on to the Ornn ultimate and allow some poke potential with the Misfortune and the Victor to try and use it as the fight has already begun, versus looking to use it as an engagement. Because once that stun comes out, that is one of the largest area of effect stuns that they have on Laboratory outside of the independent pick potential from the lockdown on the Victor along with the Nautilus.
Yeah. And honestly, you have engaged in the for Nautilus and the Victor, especially the slowdown. And so, once again, that Ornn pick is just not being used to its full potential by Smurf Top, who's, again, used to being able to just dive in and shove as well as he pleases. He can't even get that top tower, let alone any tower here, as the rest of the members have already cleaned up the rest of the map. But honestly, this Baron's kind of being used against the Flyers here, as they're still sticking with a group, knowing that, honestly, the Lab wants the team to be split apart, and they can't afford to do that with such a lead that they have right now.
Looking for an opening, decent amount of damage onto Aphelios by Ventriligo. You've got Orianna in the bush, needing to be careful not to get caught out here. Again, that is going to be a critical opportunity and a win condition for Laboratory to get an early takedown onto this Orianna X Cassiopeia play. Looking like a decent rotation comes through by Lewis, going to go back into that potential mid lane as you've got Misfortune actually doing and holding their own. Pepsi going to force a flash and sprint out of there. That movement speed and crowd control, trying to at least evade. Here comes the blast cone. Sejuani looks for the ultimate, going to dodge it this time. Pepsi not going to get picked around a second time as the blast cone gets the evasion. And what a well-timed awareness play in that mid lane.
Yeah, Pepsi doing what the team is trying to set out, and that's split and conquer here. So that's actually happening in the top lane. Ornn finally getting that top tower here. But honestly, there was a bit of television from that Sejuani. While that ult cooldown is extremely short this late in the game, she just kind of tunneled down and tried to catch the MF, who has way too much movement speed for her. Honestly, MF played it well, got the tower, and they got 2 extra towers to try and bring back that gold deficit as it slowly tries to come to even here.
As we do see that 30-minute marker, we're going to now just kind of take a look at the build-up here. We've got the Renekton with 3 completed items. You've got a lot of outgoing damage. The Black Cleaver, one of the most recent completed here next to the Death Stance. I mean, there's a lot of tankiness. You also have that Gargoyle Stone Plate coming out from the Sejuani to really keep more survival along with the Nautilus for those lengthier fights. So there's a lot of really great items to go into these types of fights, but has to be careful for the engagement, as a collapse could just come in with this Drake coming up in 10 seconds.
Yeah, and that was a good placement of the blue ward here, trying to get some vision in that bush, but they did take some solid damage for it. But it does not look like Uni wants to face this up. Cassiopeia actually caught out from the rest of the start the engage here. The Arno ulti coming to the back as the rest try to focus as well. Sejuani landing a solid ulti with Renekton inside there. Bimola in the backline. Cassiopeia being ulti, trying to be kept alive as Aphelios is being able to do some solid damage here. Everyone's still focusing the Cassiopeia. 2 kills to 3. It's coming in right now. Sejuani's getting caught out, but Ornn is actually the one who's gonna die. Renekton trying to chase down Just Chillin', but not catching it. And that's another Drake for the Flyers. They are turning this around.
This is the big part that we were talking about. You had Just Chillin' getting that engagement onto Renekton and the Sejuani, but the problem is that because there was so much dedicated to the Renekton and the Sejuani, who, mind you, are the two tankiest characters on the team of Lewis, left so much open for the back line of Aphelios, Cassiopeia, and the Lulu to really control that fight. You don't have any way to crowd control the Aphelios, who was on the opposite side of the wall, pumping in damage and making sure to crowd control with that gravity gun, and along with the flamethrower to do some explosive frontline damage, as all three of the remaining members from Laboratory were stacked up in that narrow choke point, with Cassiopeia, again, laying down the poison and ticking away the health values.
Yeah, once again, they also just straight up focus the Cassiopeia, the ulti being used a little early, but oh no! Oh, Pepsi picking up a kill on the Aphelios, who stayed in his area a little too long there. Quite a shame, but honestly, it worked out in the end. The IE coming out for Aphelios here, looking to do some more solid damage. But as I was saying before, that sudden kill happened there. Once again, Uni just focused on that Cassiopeia, and they're doing it again. They're dropping the ulti on top. Sejuani ulti, you got to keep the rest of them away, not catching anyone, but forcing enough slow to happen there. Once again, Smurf Top is using this ultimate as an engage tool, even though it is on a low cooldown. He should be looking for the solid team fight. But
and you have Smurf trying to stay further ahead, making sure of the information of when you're going to have this enemy of Lewis push up towards the Baron. The ward has been dropped. Now a stun. Smurf going to be outmaneuvered, has to dash out of the way. Kepper trying to assist. Sejuani, though, looking for this dash. Smite, steal, and gets it towards the end. Will now go in with the Lulu ultimate to try and counter, but was this really the worthy call? Now you have the Sejuani lost. You had the late kill onto High I Die a lot. With the Baron buff no longer available, you're going into a 5v4 here with all members ready from Laboratory to try and force this team back.
But yeah, Laboratory is going to have a little bit of a tough time here trying to push even farther into the base. But they drop the ulti. Maybe that sudden dive is going to be worth it for them in the end. They get the inhib. They're actually going to back out. They don't want to risk it more. That's a safe play from them. But that sudden steal from the Sejuani, playing it extremely well. But unfortunately giving a huge bounty over to that MF, which is not what you want to see.
No, not at all. And now the turret on the top lane is going to be the priority here, but you have to see Laboratory play it safe. They were able to take the inhibitor because the turret was taken down earlier by Pepsi, which had some great knowledge, but now Kepper not going to really have too much information going into this. All three members there. This is not what you need from Lewis right now, as Kepper manages to get out of it. The stun going to come through, but it's not going to have anybody to follow up on. Smurf going to lose that ult. It has a slow or a light cooldown, so it's not going to be too much of a loss, but I almost feel like you could have had that claim by Laboratory, and that should have been a fight to go on since you had three other members towards the mid and bot lane from Lewis.
Honestly, Kepler just got really lucky there. What should have been an obvious punish going into that bush, completely blind, mind you. Not even dropping a ward at first. But he was able to pop his ulti, do solid damage enough, and stay alive, even though the ultimate coming out from Orin here was trying to capitalize off it, but the rest of the Flab did not want to fight it, knowing that there might be another member nearby after Sejuani had already come back up. But everyone's kind of resetting, and now the target is that dragon. It is Soul Point, actually, for Flyers here. They get that Ocean Drake. It's going to make it infinitely harder here for Lab to try and take this second match back.
I mean, let's just think about the percentage here. You've got 7.5% of your missing health every 5. And then you're talking about a Sejuani who's got a Warmogs, along with just basic health gen as a whole. There is so much survival from these three dragons, and if the fourth come through, like you said, for the soul, it is going to be even more difficult for Lewis to be brought down by Laboratory in these team fights.
Yeah, it looks like there's some vision drop there on the Drake, though. They really don't want them to get that, but Lewis is going to be clearing up the vision here. Hopefully get a control ward inside the pit, and looks like they're going to be diving for it right now. Everyone's just trying to keep solid vision and hoping that they don't get this dragon, but with how well Typhonic's been doing on these objectives, they might just end up getting this last Drake. Lulu playing it super risky there with the ward. Alone Lulu against two of the beefiest members on Uni's team. It was terrifying. Oh my gosh.
I mean, we're talking about a character who's got barely over 1,000 HP right now. I mean, we're talking Squishville for Gamer. Oh, the ultimate's actually going to come out by the Sejuani, just missing Pepsi. Lulu going to commit at least some of the dive as well. But that's going to now be a loss of an ultimate going into this. Beyond could look for an engage along with Smurf on this Ornn, and actually looks like it's going to be a rotation here potentially. And you are going to have Kepper potentially back in this and not have a full 5.
Not a full 5 going into this, but they send the MF away, which is a solid amount of damage. 3,000, 2,000, the ulti comes in. They actually get the seal on that Ocean Drake, but the damage is going to start coming out now as that ulti for the disengage was already wasted. Sejuani leading the charge.
And Sejuani getting extremely low, has to be careful. You did have that misfortune go down on this fight, but look at the super minions trying to take down the turret. This might just be a backdoor opportunity. The TPs come through. Victor wants to take one turret and looks for potentially the second, but Kepper is there to stun it. Doesn't get the second turret as the fight continues. Just chilling, not going to be able to survive through the damage from the Aphelios, boosted by Gamer on the Lulu as Orianna X goes in potentially for the kill on the Ornn, but it's not going to be enough. What a risky play. They do, for the side of Laboratory, get one of the inner turrets, but the fact of the matter is now is you're looking at a 5 versus 1 with at least 15 seconds before the next champ comes back online.
They got the Drake, they got the tower, but at what cost here? We have Kepler down in the bot lane trying to shove that back up, trying to get the bottom one, but we have the other 4 members shoving down mid as the members start popping back up here. The Ornn ulti coming through, trying to slow it down here, getting 2 members, but with the Sejuani ultimate coming through, there is no more engaged. 2 ultis, 3 ultis wasted across the board, but 1 tower, 2 towers are down from the rest of that. A dragon goes over, and it's match. It's soul point for both teams here. And honestly, that dragon soul is probably going to spell out who's going to win this match.
The fact that you did get the pick and steal from Laboratory and not allowing that Elder Drake to come out for a fight win, basically at this point, because of how both of these teams have been playing, that Elder Drake in the grand scale of things, once this next dragon comes up, will be the defining factor. But the question is there going to be another defining factor towards that Soul Drake, which is going to come up in 3 minutes? But Baron being up in 15 is going to be the next focus. As now it looks like you're going to have the Baron come up here for Red Team to potentially take. You've got the Victor looking to poke. A lot of members here from Lewis trying to engage on this Baron, getting a lot of damage. You have Ventriligo trying to get some pick potential. Kepper now being aggressive to keep distance. The Aphelios ultimate comes through. A stun lockdown on to Beyond. Very low. The dash forward gets it. And now Ventriligo is going to get overwhelmed by Kepper as well. In the back line, you see a reinforced Baron buffed Lewis team looking to chase down the remaining members of Laboratory. The stun comes on to Pepsi. And the Zhonya's, unfortunately, not going to be enough to survive through it. And now this is going to be the final hour for Laboratory as Lewis stacks up and preps to push this base.
Lewis do have a slight wave here, but they're just going to leave the Ornn alone, actually, towards that mid lane that's pushing back the towers. It's going to start being a base race, honestly, but Lab is going to be losing that as they have a full 5-man versus an Ornn. Meanwhile, solid damage coming out left, right, the TP coming in as well. That's a quick kill on top of that Polar Bear.
Goodness.
Oh, the missed ulti there on top of the Ornn. But it looks like no one's going to be able to stop the Flyers in this. We're going to game 3. Get those silver scrapes a playing.
I mean, you have to give credit here to Lewis Flyers. They really managed to take this back into that mid game after the few kills did come through. And, I mean, really well done in the team fight. We didn't actually see that as much in the original match that we saw, where you had Laboratory really demonstrate their dominance in the early game. But when it comes to coordinated play, I feel if Lewis doesn't have an early deficit, they can really hold their own.
Yeah, they can really hold their own.
And as we now looked at the damage dealt here, it is going to be just under 30k damage from the Renekton in that top lane, as Victor is close in second on Laboratory with a 27k. I mean, Renekton as a whole, when it came to this with that Black Cleaver and so many other damage items just really wrecking and tearing into the enemy makes it extremely difficult for anyone to really compete against it. And I have to say, in the grand scale of this, I don't think there is as much of a clear MVP for this round. I know we talked about it earlier to where we will make an overall MVP of this grand final for the best of 3. It is a point of 1-1. We will see how this next match between Laboratory and Lewis Flyers is going to turn out. So don't go anywhere, friends, because we need to see who is going to be the grand finalist winner of this Illinois B Division League of Legends tournament.
Apollo 69. Apollo 69.
Fucking hands up.
Hello and welcome back, friends, as we find ourselves in the third match of this best of three. We have seen Laboratory take the first round with a swiftness, as now Lewis manages to turn the tides in the second game with some well-organized and coordinated team fights. As we go into this picks and bans, looking that Lewis is already for sure stating once again we are not going to see the new, and also having the typical Darius and Ryze picked for bans for Laboratory, as Cassiopeia is also going to get taken away, as we just saw a huge demonstration of how Lewis can play that character.
Yeah, definitely an insane match last time, but we actually had the first pick of the Orianna over for Lewis. It looks like Orianna X is finally going to live up to their name here. Ooh, and we have the Taliyah picked. I'm happy. I'm excited. For anyone who doesn't know, I love Taliyah. I love seeing her played, but that's definitely going to be an interesting time, actually, for Lab's team, especially for Just Chilling, who's an extremely mobile jungler, constantly going across the map there. And while they had a try with the Volibear last time, it looks like they're going to try again with another extremely mobile champion of Taliyah. It looks like they can also get the Misfortune back in the bot lane as well.
Now, here's the one interesting thing, though, is with Laboratory, they have been notorious for using this Taliyah as a mid laner, so we could still potentially see Just Chillin' selecting an alternative jungle, so that's going to be the really interesting part, and it's really going to be up to how Lewis reads this Taliyah pick, if it's going to be focused on the jungle or for the mid, as we do see the Renekton come out once again from Lewis, and I really do like this pick because the Renekton worked out so well in their composition, and having a J4 for this hard engage and early gank potential from the jungle is really going to be useful against Laboratory.
They also have that J4 as a pretty decent counter with the ultimate into Taliyah there, but Taliyah does have her own counter as well, as if she drops the E just before the engage from Jarvan. It's going to be a very interesting play there, but we also have the Trundle pick, so honestly it's kind of up in the air. You can see Trundle in the jungle or Trundle up in top. It looks like they're trying to play as liquid as they can here. And we're going to actually have the Lulu ban coming out from ULab, and they said, you're going to ban our support, we're going to ban yours. So we're not going to see the Lulu or Nautilus coming back up, and so we're going to see how actually Lewis plays without that extremely strong support.
Yeah, it yielded a lot more value the second time around. You're going to have Lab actually remove the Ezreal as well, so they take away some of that mobility. And an interesting take, removing the Leona here for another hard engaged support play. And I'm really curious of what Lab's going to blind pick into this to give away to Lewis.
Yeah, it's honestly up in the air right now. They might just end up with the support. They're actually going to pick the Malphite hover here. Might be support. Honestly, could be anywhere. Lab really playing out in the open. And it looks like to be Malphite play there. Malphite's an extremely good choice, especially with his ultimate as well. We have 3 potential junglers, 2 potential top laners, and 2 potential mid laners here. And a potential support. I have no idea what Lab has up their sleeve here, but I guess we'll see as soon as we get it actually into the picks. We're going to see how Lewis is going to handle that one there, as they're going to have to pick either their support or their ADC. Actually, both. Never mind. I forgot how this works. But they're going to pick the Aphelios there. Aphelios has been a pretty solid pick for them in the past, doing some solid AD here, even though they aren't exactly lacking the AD right now. But we'll see what support they pick into here. They might try to get a front line.
I was going to say the fact that the Morgana was not banned this round could lead to believe that that might be visible. You made the comment about it being banned out twice, or something of a heavy AP support as well. And it could be the Syndra support, and we've seen this in some Pro League. But again, it could be an Orianna. I most likely think the Syndra support is something that we could see, and this is an off-the-wall kind of play. We've only seen it very little in the LCS before, but like you made the comment about Lab, at this point, they're picking things so unique to this type of composition to compete against Lewis. It wouldn't be surprising to see the Syndra support lane in the bottom to really just try and give a lot of crowd control and management with that AP champ, with pairing with Aphelios, as Tarek will come out, and below is feeling confident because we've seen this before and did a massive amount of work with an 0-1-7 scoring from the week prior on this Tarek.
Definitely. Honestly, both teams are trying to play mind games with each other. Who's going where? What's going to happen with what? They still have the chance to swap up picks here in the end. But honestly, Lab has a very interesting team. I have no idea who's going to go where, but we might see the Malphite go top. Talia mid, Trundle in the jungle. That could happen. Or it could be Malphite mid to try and fight off whatever mid laner is there. I'm lost, baffled. I have no idea what the hell is going to happen here.
And I mean, to be honest, when it's the best of 3 and you're in the final match, you might as well try it. Go big or go home, friends. This is the grand finals matchup. If you feel confident that you can take this challenge, you might as well do it. And yes, the other part of this too is with the Talia, Trundle, and Malphite not really having a designated spot just yet, as these characters will be picked. You have a lot of rotation capabilities where if you feel that there's an unfavorable fight in the mid lane, you could potentially rotate. If the Trundle does stay in the jungle, Malph and Talia could rotate to try and find a more opportune position to play. So there's just so much versatility in this composition. But also, let's just talk about the team fight here. You've got Malphite for the hard engage, the crowd control coming out by Tarek, Talia having a massive area of effect along with Misfortune, and Trundle with that significant pillar to block off. That's a good and organized team fight. But if we look at Lewis, they do have some team fight tactics of their own.
Yeah, definitely they have the hard engage from that Orianna along with the Jarvan as well. Renekton stacking up the damage, and that bot lane honestly coming out with some extremely strong damage as well. But it looks like we're actually going to have them, as I said before, the Malphite top, Trundle jungle, and Talia in the mid lane. The Talia pick into the Orianna is going to be very interesting. Orianna doesn't have much dash to possibly dodge that W from Talia, but it might not matter in the end, as Orianna has the ball and can honestly just toss it at Talia from behind that protection. But honestly, I'm interested in seeing how Just Chilling is going to handle this Trundle pick, as it can be an extremely mobile character with an extra speed boost here. We're going to see a lot of hard engage coming out from him, most likely in that mid lane.
I'm feeling that the most critical early moments of this game is going to be more reliant on the bot lane and how well this Syndra is going to work out. If the Misfortune and Tarek start to get an early lead in this, whether there is a jungle present or not, if the Syndra doesn't gain value in her mana consumption with the orb placement and crowd controlling, I feel this is going to spell disaster for Lewis.
Definitely. It's honestly going to be an interesting team up there, because there's not a lot of... Syndra does have things that can keep Aphelios alive, but honestly none of it's really a strong support tactic. It's just namely the extra AP damage after they have so much hard hard attack damage here. But they also are lacking a little bit of a front lane. They have the Renekton and the Jarvan, but they have a huge team fight potential here, actually, that we saw last match as well. We have about 30 seconds here looking at these two teams. I have no idea what's going to happen. What about you? Who do you think has the upper hand in this matchup?
I mean, I almost want to say Uni right now, because the fact that they've got these three frontliners, they're just going to seriously be causing a lot of problems with multiple opportunities for crowd control that Misfortune and Talia are going to have more than enough time to evaluate the fight, look for an opportunity for picks, and really get that early fight engagement and just withstand any sort of outgoing damage. And as we do now reach that 0 on the clock, we will go to our brief break before we get to see Laboratory go against Lewis, and who will be claimed the grand finals winner of this Illinois Division B tournament.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of the co-founders of GGLeagues, and I hope all of you guys are staying safe and healthy.
Hi guys, I'm Abby. Most of you probably know me as Not Too Shabby in the Discord, and I am your resident league manager for GGLeagues.
And I'm Griffin Kemp. I am a marketing intern here at GGLeagues. I don't work at Cloud9, I'm sorry.
Hey everyone, this is Eric from GGLeagues. With the coronavirus sweeping the globe, I know it's been a stressful time for everybody, even though we joke as gamers that it hasn't really changed our lives at all. But, you know, with that, we wanted to take some time to update all of you on how the coronavirus has affected our leagues and our company. We also wanted to share a little bit how we're helping to maintain the esports community and camaraderie during this difficult time.
And first off, really, in the interest of everyone's health and safety in the middle of this pandemic, we have unfortunately had to cancel all of our in-person events for this season. This is really not an easy thing for us to do, because we really love seeing everyone come to our in-person and final and really get to meet everyone in person. We wanted to bring some of our sweet props so that way everyone can kind of take pictures with that also. And so we really, really thank all of you guys who have worked with us to host these in-person events. And we really appreciate your excitement and hard work. And we really want to thank you guys as players who are planning on coming out to our in-person event. As a result of this pandemic, though, we will be finishing our spring seasons completely online with playoffs and finals running as planned, but unfortunately, it will just be online. We're holding a vote to see what other types of rewards you guys would want as a community. So please go to your Discord and be sure to vote in that.
Yeah, and I know that, GGLeagues has spread pretty far in terms of what states we encompass, but if you didn't know, we're actually based in Chicago. So for us here, we've all been working from home to protect ourselves and to slow the speed that the virus spreads to others, because we know that it's not just about us, it's not just about you guys, it's about our families, it's about everybody in our community, it's about making sure we're protecting each other, right? And so we're all still dedicated to bringing you the same league experience that you've had the entire time, but it's just going to be online mostly.
For sure. And I mean, even amidst all the disruption caused by the whole coronavirus pandemic, our mission to build community and really connect gamers to each other really remains the same. And so, we've seen people in the esports community, some of them being you guys, you players here in GGLeagues, organize hangouts, tournaments, events, and everything to support the community during these tough times and everything. The great thing about esports is its versatility and its ability to connect people no matter how far apart we are. We at GGLeagues want to continue connecting gamers to each other, but for now, only from the comfort of each gamer's houses.
With so many schools already in a remote learning environment, we here at GGLeagues want to make sure that we can continue to support you guys. Building gaming communities has always been what our biggest passion and mission is here at the company. And so we're thinking of ways that we can continue to help your gaming communities stay connected while everyone's away from campus. That's why for the duration of the whole coronavirus pandemic, we're offering to support intramural leagues for Rocket League and League of Legends to all interested schools for free, as a way to keep the students engaged and connected with one another as everyone's away from school. The intramural leagues themselves will be competitions that allow students within the school to play in a casual, fun way against one another. The leagues will run roughly 6 weeks and will be completely online. How they'll work is GG Leagues will set up a league on our website, make it easy for your school to invite players into the league, and then from there you'll get access to the same GG Leagues experience that you see in our statewide leagues, where we'll create the leagues, we'll update the standings, we'll create the schedule, and we'll provide referees to make sure everything runs smoothly. All the schools have to do is be responsible for getting word out about this opportunity to your community. So either blasting it in your Discord, sharing it with students that are away from school, and just getting people signed up. We'll have 3 different potential start dates for this, either April 7th, April 13th, or April 20th. And so if this is something that you're interested in, definitely let us know.
So as Eric was saying, if you're interested in, hanging out with me, my referees, some fellow students from your school, even if there's some staff who are interested, send us an email at intramurals@ggleagues.com. Put the subject line as something like, my school's interested in doing an intramural league. And please, in the body of the email, include, what state your school is in, what school, and who might be the best point of contact for those intramural leagues.
And so during these hard times, we are really thankful for a whole entire community we have here at GG Leagues. Not only us here at the workplace, but you guys who have been really a part of this whole thing kind of building up. And so it's really a strong reminder for all of us that why community is the driving force behind not just esports, but everything that we do here at GG Leagues. And so if there's any way that we can help your communities out, please let us know, and stay safe and healthy as we endure this pandemic.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we have a doozy of a match for you. As we were on the break, myself and Mercenary were having some really deep discussions about, after evaluating exactly what some of the runes and selections were from both of these teams. And you made a very valid point here with the Malphite top not really being as much of a tanky character, more so going in that AP realm, and how Trundle is going to have a lot of responsibility going into this fight.
Yeah, definitely here. Trundle needs to be able to actually engage here. Orianna has a strong lead over that Talia. Talia really not having all too much. That can actually affect that Orianna here. And actually Talia just blues her Q there, not really hitting much in the way of damage. And actually losing up some tainted ground there. Well, not tainted ground, whatever it's called. Losing some ground there, and it's not exactly good for her. But she has no real power over Orianna because Orianna has the ball and whatnot. And so Trundle's going to have to dive in there and try to take care of the Orianna. But meanwhile, in the top lane as well, if Malphite doesn't focus on any tank stats like ASAP, Renekton, if he's able to stay alive long enough and do the damage, he's just going to shred right through the Malphite. And so a lot of this is relying on just chilling, and honestly, if he can't pull through on this, this might be a win for the Flyers here.
And as we see the top lane, some early poke between the two. You do have Renekton from Kepper acknowledge that this is a AP Malphite from that Comet landing. So that is definitely some good information to know going into this, as they have some exchange, a nice wave clear on the front, going to force back Smurf. Not going to get a lot of that CS on the front line. Very, very low. Could get a few to at least even the score. But surprisingly, Smurf allowed a lot of damage coming out from the minions onto Kepper and trying to take an early lead in that exchange.
Definitely in that top lane there. Malphite does have a lot of early damage, especially with his Q being able to slow down here, and just kind of hurts a lot. Even has that armor to kind of keep him safe as well. So Kepler's gonna have to try to play it safe and stay alive. It's not really his place to try to engage, honestly, in this top lane. But he's definitely trying to keep up. He has the early level 2 there, trying to do a bit of damage. But meanwhile, in the spot lane, I'm very interested to see what happens there. But actually, in mid lane here, we have an engage from Trundle onto Orianna. Early flash coming out as well, as Talia's gonna flash in as well. And that's going to be first blood going to Trundle. And what do you know? Just chilling us pulling out here doing some solid damage. But that's 2 flashes actually burst here for the side of Uni.
You hit the nail on the head about the Trundle trying to get that real momentum here for the mid lane. Orianna having that advantage over the Taliyah if the evasion comes through and utilization of the orb. Now you see Trundle being a very critical play, but Smurf going to have to force the flash top. You do have Kepper getting a nice explosive amount of damage along with the crowd control on the Malphite from Smurf, not able to withstand it. And some poke damage in the bot lane. And really between these 4 players down bot, it is a very safe and patient play. Nobody going to risk anything here, especially with that Syndra play, as Trundle might look for a flank here.
Yeah, TP popping up there. Kepler looking really low, having to get away. Flashes to stay alive, but we have J4 there to try to keep it there. Trundle blew the TP up on top, trying to get that early engagement. Unfortunately, nothing came of it.
I mean, the fact that we've seen consistency in ganks with a heavy mobile character from the jungle, Nunu originally, and now with the Trundle and the Pillar, you can see that synergy and confidence between those 2 characters pick.
Most definitely. We just chilling is really coming up here, trying to keep those 2 lanes in check. They don't really know what's going to happen for the bot lane here, so you're probably not going to see too much focus happen down there. But meanwhile, as things go, wards are cleaned up and everyone's back into their lanes. TP blown for Kepler up in top lane as he's looking for an engage. He has the level 3, so he has a bit of an advantage, especially at the life steal. Here comes Trundle, rolled in from the deep. The Pillar being dropped right on top of Kepler. This might spell a death sentence. He has no flash to stay alive, but here comes J4. Looking to possibly clean up. Catching Malphite off from the side. Kepler's diving in. And J4 is going to pick up that kill, but meanwhile in the bot lane here, the Ignite doing some solid damage, an extra flash and heal happening from the MF. He's going to stay alive. J4 diving in after the Trundle. It's a 3-man up top. The kill is going to possibly happen, and Orianna catches it.
What a slew of actions coming out from top and bottom lane. All while Ventrilogo tries to just keep the CS score even in the mid lane and accelerate forward. In the end of it, it's going to be 2 in favor of Lewis over Laboratory, but Laboratory still, I think, in the grand scale of things, played that very well with the difficult exchange they had.
Yeah, but meanwhile, mid lane here, while that kill is great for Orianna and the top lane, Taliyah got a stack and got pretty ahead in farm, so she's a little bit more free to roam now, as actually both members are going to be looking for that early Drake here at only 5 minutes 30.
And the fact that you can have that regroup from Laboratory to take this dragon to try and reduce that differential. I mean, it's only about 600 gold difference. Now I'm going to start trying to even it out with that turret plate from mid lane. We're going to get a reset here. It's not completely favoring one or the other, but it definitely shows that there is a lot of rotation capability from Lewis with this Orianna and J4 giving some assistance to the lanes.
Definitely, we have that Taliyah actually showing her strength there in the mid lane, being able to do some solid damage to the dragon here and able to actually move a lot more. But we have Orianna going all the way up top, feeling like suffice with damage. Question mark ping happening there, as well as Orianna is actually looking to possibly steal farm and is still going to be looking for that gank on top of Malphite. Malphite walking back here. The ulti's not there, solid damage, but nothing's going to come of it, as Taliyah's just going to be happy, stay safe, and get more farm.
Yeah, I mean, Taliyah at this point can kind of play it safe in the mid game. I know Orianna's looking to rotate into this top area to apply a lot of pressure onto the Malphite because there is an opportunity of shutting down that AP Malphite character. But in the bot lane now, you're going to see this engagement coming back below, trying to find a stun onto Die-A-Lot, but is going to be difficult. Syndra's going to try and collapse as Kepper on the high ground does wait for the jungle to come through, has to force the ultimate out immediately. Smurf barely evading that Cataclysm. And will now have to be careful of this bot lane as the Syndra just flashes out of the pillar. And that is a failed attempt with this rotation from mid lane by Ventrilogo.
Yeah, Taliyah is definitely playing to her strength here, as we were going to see before here. Working with that jungler, trying to engage on anything happening there. It seemed like a little bit of a long shot down there in the bot lane to catch those members as they were very well forced back in the wave there. But now we have a lot of people hitting level 6, as we see up top here as Kepler's diving in. The ulti from Orianna out of nowhere! is going to take the kill onto Malphite, and that's another kill going to Orianna.
And this is why the name is Orianna X. It is just some seriously well-played positioning, managing to pick up the kills when necessary. And despite that Kepper in the top lane didn't get the kill, still feels very confident knowing that it did go to Orianna X, who is now 2-1-0 with at least a minimal bounty and sticking pretty close in comparison to a CS score.
Honestly, Orianna sees that Talia's kind of leaving the lane here, and she's like, alright, if you're just going to disappear, I guess I will too. And honestly, helping a lot in that top lane, getting some early stacks to this Renekton, who's already almost 30 CS up. Both are playing extremely well and roaming here, but Talia having not a lot of luck, as the Flyers kind of know what's going to be happening here. And they're just going to keep playing it safe from the rest of the junglers, knowing that Just Chilling is going to be looking for the roam, and for Telego is also going to be looking for the roam as well.
At this point, you've seen Lewis start to understand their opponent and play it effectively. Now, as you get the jungler diving in, the J4 gets some damage onto Pepsi, and at this point, you just have below average bailing out of that fight and saying, I'm sorry, Pepsi, but I gotta leave because they're gonna pop your can and make sure that I'm just gonna stay safe.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, well played by Below Average to at least stay safe and get out of there. But unfortunately, the MF just got caught out there and gave an early kill to that Syndra. Top lane here, we actually see some solid damage coming out from Renekton on Malphite. Malphite, once again, having to force the immediate boots here. Oh, we have Talia, though, catching Orianna X off guard. That fat flash being blown here. And she's going to make it safe, as the Ignite was also blown by Talia. Nothing, once again, coming of it. It's a real shame for Talia here.
One of the big things that I can at least acknowledge over the last two matches that we've seen and going into this third one is that Lewis is very understanding of their opponent. Once they start to exploit their weaknesses, they're able to respond effectively. But now in the top lane, Kepper going to get collapsed on Just Chill and giving a lot of assistance as the TP comes through. Also a follow-up by Ventriloquo gets the kill. Now the Orianna ultimate pulling in 3. Is there enough here to survive through this damage? Orianna X does go down in the end of it. Shut down gold to Ventriloquo. What a worthy attempt by Orianna. And now in the bottom, you've got the Cataclysm coming out. Beautiful stun, locking this jungle away. Not going to get a follow-up kill in the bot lane, as UC Laboratory not out of this game just yet, claiming 2 and pushing the top turret.
Honestly, well played by Talia there, coming up there to try to max it up. But Orianna just showing some serious damage up there. Now we have Kepler diving in, trying to stop actually the Rift Herald here, getting the stun and some solid damage, but it's too close to call, and it's going to be some immediate gold going over here to both for Telego and Just Chilling. Exactly what they need from this matchup here. Kind of knowing Malphite's out of the fight here. He has ultimate, but doesn't really mean all that much, as Kepler Johnson is looking extremely strong. Actually, both members are going to see nearby as the fight continues. Kepler having to back up because Talia was not hidden.
Yeah, Kepper needs to be careful. The fact that there are 2 members hidden in bushes right now with no vision in that top one. You see Trundle leave. Now it's a little more safe. Not going to risk it. The Dragon's going to be picked up here by Blue in the meantime. So it is a 1-to-1 Dragon trade, as we will see that next Drake going to be Fire.
And we're going to get that Infernal Soul, an extremely powerful Drake. For actually a lot of the members here, just solid damage and AoE working for everyone. But I especially want to look at Kepler getting that Infernal. I just imagine Crocodile Dundee up here looking gigantic while just constantly burning 2 different AoE abilities at the same time. That's not what you want to see. That's pretty terrifying as well. So we might see a lot of focus on those Infernal Drakes from Uni. We have a bit of a problem down here in bot lane, but meanwhile top lane's going to continue the fight as well. Kepler looking strong with some damage. Both members have their ultis up, so either one could pop them at any time.
Honestly, there's a lot of attention in that bot lane just to really who can get the better positioning, and there's no objective really there for anyone to take. So meanwhile, the top lane is really the primary focus of who can get that better advantage. And at this point, Kepper Johnson's not going to stick around, looking to go back, has a valid amount of gold to spend, has just under 1,000 to work with. And you've got Talia moving up the top lane. So at this point, Kepper's just going to probably rotate to get a couple of jungle camps and reset.
Everyone's just gonna reset, clean up, and stay safe. Multiple stuff happening there, but Orianna looking for the damage, missing the ult, but getting a flash up from Talia. Pretty terrifying there. Well played from Orianna, trying to set it up at least.
Yeah, that would have been a huge execution if the flash wasn't there.
Yeah, but she's level 9, so that ulti's on a really short cooldown. It's already a 4th way back now. Talia missing the W there. As I was saying before, you can't hit the W. You're not going to get much damage output. But everyone's trying to play it well as we have Drake coming up here in about 2 minutes 45 seconds.
And with that Drake being active, you've got a lot of focus there. Wards coming out. Look at the poke damage here from Orianna X. What a massive amount being laid onto Ventrilogo. You've got the Luden's Echo, but at that point, the poke damage from the Luden's Echo versus the orb damage from Orianna X, it's just not nearly as sufficient, but the pillar's going to come through now by just chilling, getting some damage. Talia not going to be close enough to follow up on that as the bot lane still continues to ensue underneath that turret.
Yeah, there's a ton of pressure coming out here from Dialot and Gamer as everyone is trying to push in. I just realized the name is Gamer, and I hate myself for saying that out loud now. But you're looking across the map now, actually, with the Golden Flux going straight over to the Flyers, rocking a solid 2K over everyone else. And honestly, a lot of the stuff is happening there. But now in mid lane, we have 2 ultis being popped on Vertiligo, and she's going to go straight down as Trundle's getting caught out there in the mid lane as well. But all members get the backup with some serious damage happening there. Top lane, some extremely hard hits happening up there as well. Drake has about 1:30 left to pop of the ulti coming out from Kepler. The flash being forced from Smurf. But it's pretty scary. Trundle's coming up near top. Malphite is trying to hold it out here. He's going to look for that ulti. Kepler having a little bit of his ulti left over to do some solid damage and just chilling, but it's not enough. He's going to fall to the Malphite top. But Orianna...
but the Orianna gonna go for the kill. Orianna X, the awareness on the map, and in this bot lane, a potential 3-2 dive under turret could come out with this J4, but the Cataclysm is not yet ready, so it most likely will be hesitant to engage. But honestly, this is what I think we're going to consistently see onto the Talia. This type of coordination between the jungler and the mid laner, making sure that there is just so much explosive damage to instantly take down the Talia, to not even give an opportunity of exchange. And when you've got a bounty on Orianna X with 350 gold, a 5-2-0 score at the moment, you're feeling really confident.
Yeah, but here's Typhonic looking for the possible engage. The E missing, and along with the cannon fire as well. Talia's winning on the side here, but the quick dash is going to keep him alive, but the electric Q is going to do damage. Here comes the MF ulti. Solid damage coming left and right. Orianna X landing the ulti, getting another kill as well. Here comes Malphite as well, trying to catch the Aphelios as well. That's a shutdown gold going straight to Malphite. All the members are looking pretty low. Talia still trying to get some extra damage. But honestly, all the members are gonna stay safe, and there's a solid bounty on Orianna X's head. The first tower is gonna go down in the top 4 Flyers, but that's gonna be an Infernal Drake going straight over to Uni.
You saw Orianna X trying to get another pick there onto that Misfortune, looking for the 7-2, but now the crossover from the terrain. Orianna X in a difficult spot as Talia wants the shutdown gold. They will not let Talia get it, and it's gonna go to Smurf. Ventrilogo really could have used that, but in the exchange, it's just a good quality kill at the end, no matter what. The gold has been distributed, but you've got Smurf along with Just Chillin' going in. The ultimate comes out. The jungler going to be picked off. Now locked in the Cataclysm. The stun by the Syndra. Manages to get the follow-up. Hi, I die at a lot. Will get some follow-up looking for the pick onto the Smurf play of Malphite. And that is a shutdown. What a just massive amount of exchange back and forth in this bot lane.
That was absolutely insane. Honestly, Talia stayed too close. I'm gonna first start with that first fight. I'm sorry, Malphite. You should have gotten that kill. Should have let Talia have it. Because honestly, while Malphite is still being strong and starting to build some tank stats as well, Talia could have used that, especially for how quickly she's going across the map here. That's kind of what she's standing for. But meanwhile, Talia stayed too close after the match happened, and while J4 died for it, that was 3 pickups and going almost all to the bot lane here, who are back in this match. Not even just back in this match, they're even stronger now, and so Uni's not only going to have to worry about an Orianna, but they're going to have to worry about a powerful bot lane as well.
I mean, especially when you've got this much pick potential with an Orianna and a Syndra. You've got the Syndra still playing the support role here, but the amount of damage that can be put out from the ultimate, depending upon how many orbs are on the ground, will literally, in between the two of them, delete an enemy. If you find that there is somebody in range with the ultimate from Orianna pulling them close and the pop of an ultimate from Gamer, you're in a beautiful place.
Yeah, you can. I don't know if you can feel, but I'm gonna put the air quotes on support Syndra. I mean, look at those items. The only support item she's rocking is honestly the dagger right now.
Yeah.
But
I'm a Vel'Koz support main, so I get it.
yeah, but a lot of stuff being burnt there, and looks like I have an engaged top. The Malphite ulti being pops, but you got a flash, and that's kind of a waste of an ulti there from Malphite because no one was going on Kepler. Smurf looking a little bit less, but meanwhile 3 people shoving in mid while 3 are just fighting Kepler, and Aphelios is alone in the bot lane. It looks like Flyers are treating Uni like the Uni treated them the first game. We're gonna tear you guys apart.
Yeah,
the flash coming out, and here's the ulti.
Cataclysm going to lock down Ventrilogo. Lots of damage from the side. Gamer going to get the pick up here as the Orianna ultimate pulls multiple together. Taric using the ultimate to try and focus and survive through that damage as the Aphelios ultimate will be unleashed, but no further damage needed because you already got the critical pick, shutting down Ventriloco, just continuing to put that mid laner into a deficit and forcing a reset here and going to try and grab this Rift Herald just before it vanishes.
Honestly, this Orianna is on fire, and that's probably why her name is Orianna X. She's pulling off these ults masterfully. She kept Kepler alive during that fight, and they got an extra kill as well. And they're on fire, tearing apart Uni at the seams. And they got to play it safe. They have almost a 5k goal lead right now. They might be down on Dragons, but they're up 3-0 on Towers. And they still have a double bounty bot lane down there, with Syndra picking up another kill, rocking a 3-0-3. Still has yet to die and does so much damage.
And you have a almost 5k difference now, where first game, Laboratory takes the majority of this game. You've got an even exchange starting to slowly favor in Lewis, and now Lewis is really starting to grab hold of this, and they've downloaded data from the enemy. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Their ability to just adjust and acclimate to their opponent like Laboratory and start really focusing on their weaknesses and taking advantage of it is a real treat to see, because that's what you need in a grand finals match like this. You can't just rely on your strengths. You also have to understand your ability to evaluate your opponent to try and really take this to the final map.
Yeah, everyone's just gonna play it safe and start actually setting up for the next Infernal Drake. Aphelios looking hungry at that Malphite, landing the damage here. The TP coming as well, the flash coming out along with the ulti for Smurf top. It's not gonna be enough. He's gonna start getting chewed out, but Orianna is gonna be slowed down by the Q. He's going to be kept safe, but meanwhile, in the top lane, Kepler's gonna drop that Rift. And it's gonna do a solid amount of damage, taking down that tower in the top lane. Kepler's gonna dive on the Vertiligo here. He's gonna get forced back by Talia, but it's not gonna be enough.
No, Kepler just has way too much. And now the rotation comes through. The rest of the team follows up to take Kepler, as we have a lot of area damage coming out onto 3, but it is not going to be nearly enough to get any sort of a kill. So it is a 1-for-1 exchange right now, but still leading the way by 4k right now is Lewis. And at this point, because of this aggression in the bot lane, now about to take another turret here, the objective game is really in favor of Lewis.
Lewis definitely are holding a strong suit, and actually during that fight up top, Lewis actually got the Drake, and so there was the reason why we didn't see it is there was no counterplay. There was no fight for that Infernal Drake down in the bot lane, as the members were just trying to go and kill Kepler Johnson. Honestly, the Flyers are actually a tunnel visioning lab here, as they were in the first match. It's almost a complete flip of scripts here.
As we reach this 22-minute marker, the Baron comes up, and a new objective presents itself. Is really, at this point, one of the key things that I want to focus on moving into these next team fights is how the mobility is going to play a factor from Laboratory against Lewis. You've got the Trumbull and you've got the Misfortune with high mobility around these teams. Really, it needs to come out to potentially the Tarek finding an engagement opportunity or a Malphite with a solid stun onto multiple members. But it's going to be really difficult because Lewis is not playing so clustered together that there's going to be a massive group knockup.
Yeah, it's a lot of well-fought placements by the Flyers here, and Orianna really proving her worth once again. Actually, in the bot lane right now, have a little bit of a chase, but nothing really coming of it. The Flyers are going to be looking directly for that Baron. They control the pit entirely for Vision right now, and Uni's honestly playing scared. They don't want to blow this immediately, and so they're going to play back from that Baron. Syndra waiting on the side with Orianna. They're starting a possible death push right now. No vision being placed, but there's also an engage down here in the bot lane as Kepler is just split pushing against Smurf top.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you see so much aggression coming out from Kepler here that at this point, because the teleports are available, they can rely on sticking into a different lane. And once that teleport comes through, the second one will immediately follow, and you've got that later engagement potential to dive into it. The 1v1 starts to come out, though. Kepler going to be completely dove onto. Smurf going to really just draw attention away, as Kepler is now a sitting duck in this corner. The Misfortune unleashing a lot of damage. Talia not going to go too hard in the paint here just because they don't want to get taken. But while that fight's happening, the whole remaining member of Lewis' team is taking this Baron as Just Chillin' waits just on the outer side. Is it going to be a possible take? Here comes the movement speed, just over 2k worth of health value. The damage needs to stop so the smite doesn't take it. The flash in, the Orianna ult, it's still going to be bought and taken out here by Lewis as the engage continues. Below average on the front side with the Tarek trying to get the stun as you have Smurf jumping over the wall. Gamer out in the back line, getting some stun potential as Orianna X survives with all four members. A sliver of health on high I die a lot. Doesn't want to die this time. Going to sit underneath the turret, but this fight is not yet over. Ventriligo looking for that opportunity to get a kill in the back line, but getting extremely low as the Syndra, along with the Orianna, look to chase. The entire team reroutes around, and Ventriligo just wants a kill.
Honestly, Kepler did what his job was supposed to do. He was trying to draw attention from everyone else. And so when the bot lane from Uni went down to catch it up, they just started up Baron immediately. Chilling wasted his possible engage there by popping up the pillar, but he had no vision in the pit whatsoever. And then we saw Ventriligo trying to chase them down, but honestly, alone Talia with very low health against 4 people, it's not going to happen. She tried there, but she had to run away before she was completely shut down by one of these extremely low health members. And honestly, it's a really good play from Flyers right now. They have the Baron pick, even though one member doesn't have it, 4 others do. They're going to keep shoving in. Kepler Johnson looking to actually stay with the rest of the team here, as he doesn't have the Baron to try and split push.
And we also have to acknowledge that despite how you saw a catch-up in kills for Laboratory, we're talking a 7k gold deficit here for Laboratory. That is 2 full completed item builds worth on the side of Lewis to try and compete as we go into this late game where we're looking to see that 3rd and 4th item completed from some of these players. And with the Dragon coming up in 10 seconds, this is going to be the 3rd. And with the Baron buff already obtained by Lewis, this could also be another Dragon.
Solid damage for them, but they don't have anyone split pushing to distract them. Though Talia's going all the way to the top to take that top tower, because it's no contesting here. Infernal Drake is gone, but that's only an outer turret up there. Actually, Laboratory not having a single turret right now. They're trying to look to get something somewhere. They can't get kills, so what the hell are they going to try and find here?
I mean, and especially because you had the Chakram active coming out from Aphelios to just shred through that Dragon's health value, and now going to move up to this turret. That is going to be a massive amount pushed up with this entire team. And as this next turret becomes available to push, using the remaining portion of this Baron buff to try and superpower those minions, you're going to have to see Lab just hold their own here in this mid lane as a now reposition and reset in this jungle comes out by Lewis and is really just going to clear the jungle out to make sure they get that extra gold.
Yeah, we saw this fierceness, honestly, in Uni from the first match, and even in the second match as it got turned around, though. But almost all that fierceness has gone away as they realize what they're dealing with is an extremely strong team fighting comp. They had a trick up their sleeve using the Trundle and the Talia to try to push around and try to play mind games in the earlier on, but honestly, the entirety of the Flyers, they got the better picks in the end because, like, don't try to play my games, play to your strengths. We're not trying to cheese anyone out here. And so Flyers are really showing them what for. Honestly, I do think Uni can bring this back. They have that strength and that power behind them. It's just they need to be starting to go for picks now rather than for full out team fights.
The hardest part to that is with how well Lewis is separating and regrouping. It is really difficult for Laboratory to find an advantage because the only time that Laboratory's really been able to do anything against this team finding a solo member has been Kepper on this Renekton, the only one risking to stay separated. And even if you do have a 5 versus 4, if Orianna X has some great coverage and finds an ultimate that lands onto at least 3 people, that is a significant amount of damages. This could just be an engagement here.
Yeah, 4 members looking around, though it does look like Typhonic is nearby. Members got to play it safe here. Orion playing back as the other members are trying to push up their strengths. They're all looking for her, but she has no bounty. She is worth gold, though, and that's what they want. They want that strong team fighter off the board. But it looks like with no any hard engaged, Oriana playing it really safe. They're going to split that up and back away as they wait for the next objective, which will be Baron in about 1:25 here.
And then the Dragon's going to come up in 2:30. So these are 2 critical objectives that will look to be leading one after another. Whoever gets the Baron will instantly try to rotate down with that minute remaining to get the Dragon as well. I have a feeling that this could still go in favor of Lewis for this next Baron. The biggest need to really focus on is actually almost allowing the Baron to be started first by Lewis so you can get a hard engage opportunity to get an early pick for Laboratory.
Yes, and everyone's playing it back here and starting to circle up as the timer goes down for Baron. Though there is a lot of pings on that Infernal Drake, that's a really strong focus of what the Flyers are going to be trying to get. They want that soul immediately as we hit the 30-minute mark. As soon as they get that soul, that's a ton of damage coming their way, and they can honestly use it to push straight through the base. But they don't want to give up that Baron just yet. They know that Uni could definitely use that and start pushing through these towers. But again, it's a 6-to-1 tower difference right now. Flyers hold the huge advantage well above, I'm pretty sure, well above like 5k gold right now. And so, honestly, it's just a matter of waiting and what is Uni going to do? What are they going to focus on and how are they going to handle this?
I mean, you do make a valid point that the fact that the Dragon Soul is going to be coming up specifically for this one if Lewis can gain it. But you do see Kepper really just playing this top lane and staying there, not wanting to show any visibility on the map at the current time to try and give away their position. And you have now a potential back, a grab going to potentially come through. You do have the stun missing from Gamer. As J4 looks to come back, this is when the fight is going to begin, now that J4 has bought and resets for this next fight.
Yeah, everyone's trying to play around here. The Baron is up and the vision is there for Uni, but the Drake is also coming up in about 30 seconds here for the Flyers. And honestly, at this point, Uni does not want to give up that Drake whatsoever. As soon as they do, that might spell a death sentence, Baron or not. Meanwhile, on the top lane here, we have a bit of fight starting for Kepler. 3 members are waiting around. Dives are happening. The ulti is popped, but nothing's happening here. He's chasing down for Teleco. Everything's going
comes
around.
through with Smurf, does get the stun. That's going to be a window of opportunity here for them.
Yeah, but meanwhile, the entirety of the rest of the team are going to be going straight for that Drake as Uni realizes, like, oh, I guess it's Baron time then. But there's the Infernal Soul. That is permanent, Baron is not, as the rest of the Flyers are starting to dive up there to try and see if they can catch this one off too.
Smurf top holding that bush position, looking, you see the flash, the cataclysm, and the Orianna ultimate, pulling him into the center. Just chilling, managing to take down J4 amongst it all, though. Then Trillico in the back, trying to keep some distance with that spacing from all of her abilities. The Baron does not go down. What a huge combination from Orianna X and the sacrifice on the J4 to not allow that Baron to be taken and claimed by Laboratory.
To claim something in the past, they couldn't stop them all. Malphite was not able to stop was able to stop most of the players, but J4 dove directly in there with the ball on top of him to try to stop that Baron, and he did. They don't have an objective for any pushing anymore, and honestly, Flyers have the soul now, and so all of that pressure that they had for Baron after that quick switch there is now completely flipped, and honestly, the entirety of Flyers are looking that much more scary.
The other part, too, is at this point, you would think the sacrifice on Kepper is a bad outcome, but because it opened up that window to buy enough time to take Dragon, rotate to Baron, and have a really good contestable fight, was totally worth the kill.
It definitely was. Kepler's, honestly, at this point, is just the bait, and Uni keeps falling for it. They don't... It's almost as if they don't see it, that Kepler's honestly just leaving something open. He is 1 in 5, but honestly, he's got the heart of the people at this point.
Now as Typhonic tries to clear out a lot of the wards, at this point, you're going to see Lewis try to bait this out, so Laboratory can now look to be in a less vision-knowledged position. As Kepper now looks to clear up that, and you have Aphelios actually looking to start this with the Orianna. A lot of damage going to come out, and you have to look for this engage.
Kepler's looking in the backline, he's popping that ulti, diving in there, going straight after the Trundle, trying to stop him. The stun coming out as well as Kepler's being focused on, but they get the Baron, and that's what they're going for.
And now you see the Aphelios popping the ultimate, trying to get some assistance. Cataclysm comes out. Orianna X gets the ultimate locked down in the back onto the ADC as die a lot, going to try and still pump out a ton of damage. You do have Gamer taking advantage of this. The double kill comes out. That's going to be a cleanup, and this is an opportunity with a triple coming out from Die. And will look to get the ace, and now try to press this mid lane, not only with the Dragon Soul, but Baron as well.
That's the soul, that's Baron, and that's the ace. Everything that Uni didn't want to happen. And now they have 20 seconds till their support comes back up, and it won't be enough here. There goes 1 tower, there goes 2 towers. Hello, championship ring. You are all looking at your Illinois B Division champions.
Lewis coming back from an early map loss, the deficit, reverse sweeping it, taking map after map, and claiming a worthy title here. And what a job well done. Able to adjust, roll with the punches, and pick up that Orianna at the end in the last match to really demonstrate how critical that character could be. It was practically as if you saw ULabs bringing in their strong characters first and playing alternatives, whereas you had Lewis playing more reserved to allow these last 2 matches to play to their strengths, and it worked out beautifully.
And now, as we're looking at the damage charts, as you guys are seeing them now, we're going to be looking at some of the top tiers here. We have Talia barely stacking out at the top here at 888.5. We have Malphite coming up close behind, and we have Orianna falling up behind there. Solid damage across the board. Everyone played fantastically. Both teams were honestly amazing to watch, but the Flyers figured out Uni's strategy early on. They figured it out, they reversed it, and they got it to work for them, and that's how they won the game. But now that the matches are over and we have our champions, we're going to be looking at the finals MVP. What you got for me, Rich Rat? Who's your finals MVP?
I mean, I know that ULab didn't manage to clutch this. I still feel that the jungle play coming out here from ULab was still very strategic, despite the loss. I still feel that that's an MVP-worthy recognition. But if I wanted to just say sheer enjoyment to watch from an MVP state, I gotta say Orianna X coming out at the end, really working in tandem with J4 and finding so much value.
Definitely right there. I'll give an honorable opponent. Give us that back. Give that back to us, Riot. Please give that over to
Right?
Just Chilling. He played phenomenally trying to get across the map there, but his strategy got caught there in the end, and the Flyers just honestly played around it. But honestly, the award goes to Orion X, not only for that final game just master play with their main, but you're also looking at that second game as well with the Cassiopeia, just doing so much damage, and even when they got focused, that's what they were going for. They still pumped out as much as they could, even though they were getting taken down. They played well with the rest of the team, and it worked out. And honestly, that's going to be it from us tonight here. Tomorrow, make sure you tune in onto GG Leagues LOL. We won't be around here, but we will have the Texas A Division A finals here coming out from UT Dallas Comets versus SMU Blue. And that's going to be an interesting match there over with Zeko and Dave. But honestly, if you guys want to join in on the fun, try to join a team for yourself, make sure you go to GGLeagues.com, see if you got a team in your area, and you can join up for next season. And if you don't, talk to us. We might even set up a team right in your hometown. And if you want any updates on what's happening next, what we're planning on doing, and what streams are going to be on, make sure you go to any of our social media located at GG Leagues to see what's going to happen next. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you to both teams for playing. It was an amazing match here for us to watch. And once again, GG to the Lewis Flyers, your Illinois Division B champions.